G'day, citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Grim. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've had a bit of a week, as people
It's been a
probably,
week for you.
yeah, from the title. But I wanted to do something a little different. I do things a little differently from most people, so this is not going to be sad. I'll just say that straight from the bat. As I was saying to Grim, I learned how to do funerals. My grandparents went, and then the third grandparent went, and my dad's side of the family do things very different to my mum's side of the family. And they had an all-night rager saying goodbye to my grandmother. And that's how I want to do kind of funerals, and that's how I'd like to go out myself. So what this is going to be is I want people to, when we do questions today, is I want you to tell me some of the crazy things that your animals got up to. And that'll be the celebration that I know my cat would want to go out on. So I thought I'd kick it off a little bit with talking about Jax. Now, just so you know, the main reason I'm doing this is because Jax was the cat that came up and walked past with his tail all the time, and you won't see that anymore because he's obviously gone.
Yeah.
And he went unexpectedly. It turns out the little cut on his nose that he's had the last couple of years, turns out it was cancer. And yeah, as people are doing in chat, that emoji is actually Jax07, and that's who's passed. So that's the cat that is based on. But I don't really feel sad for him. He was actually in a lot of pain in the end, and it was a very easy decision for me to put him down. Or easy as in I knew I had to do it. Very sad, obviously. I cried very much on the day.
Yeah.
But he it started to fill his lungs. He had liquid on his lungs, and he's a very quiet cat. Until he discovered milk, he didn't even vocally meow. So for like the first 10 years of his life, he didn't even meow. And then he discovered this artisan milk that I drank. So I can only drink water or tea because I'm diabetic. So basically he discovered this very expensive milk that I drink, and me being the dad that I am, I let him drink it. So he had this
Got
really
a taste for the finer things in life.
yeah, so like how humans sit around with red wine, he'd just like be around with his
Yes.
little cup of milk going, oh gosh. So he was very spoiled. So I'll just give one example. So he was a big fan of a chip called Twisties here in Australia. I think that'd be similar to your Cheetos. I think you might have those Cheetos. But the way they're shot out, they're kind of shot out where they kind of splatter out of the gun that they're shot out of, and they're like long and random. You can Google them. Twisties. And then there's another ice cream here made by Streets. I don't know if you get that brand, Streets. But I think they're an offshoot of Nestle here in Australia, but they're called Paddle Pop. And he was a big fan of Rainbow Paddle Pops, and he just licked the stick clean. Like he was obsessed. Oh, wow. So he loved ice cream and Twisties. It's a really weird combo. But he'd eat yogurt, like a whole bunch of human foods. Really bizarre. Like, I mean, other cat doesn't want anything to do with any of them.
Yeah.
And so the main reason I'm kind of talking about this is I've had 7 cats, and he is easily by far and away the coolest. But what I wanted to do was give other people the chance to celebrate pets, and basically, yeah. So I'm going to put up the question bot. If you want to put in a question, but say, my animal did this, and it doesn't have to be a cat. It can be a dog, a parrot, a fish, whatever. Feel free to talk about it. And I thought that would just be a really cool way to, because I have to let people know somehow, and I'm not going to sit here and they're all going to go, oh, he's dead. Like I didn't like that idea very much. So I thought it was better just to be upfront with people and kind of go from there.
Yeah, it's a day of celebrating your animals, what they did, what they brought to your life, you know, memories, little weird quirks, those parts of their personality that come out that,
Exactly.
Are unique to them. So yeah.
All right, the bot is up and running. So if you want to put in a question for me and Grim as well, you can also do regular Star Citizen questions. This is a Star Citizen first and foremost. But I thought you might want to, and I do thank you everyone for the well wishes and messages and all that. So yeah, feel free. But again, me and Grim being really into ships. If you've got a ship question, go bananas. I know Grim and I. He's Grim. are we going to be eating pretty or not this year? Like I sit at that lineup and think about all the ones that we did a stream on your channel. We got the Raelian, the Ironclad, the Galaxy, just 3 big ones there. Not to mention all the unknowns. You know, like
on my stream yesterday, C Daddy was in chat, and I made an off the cuff comment about how, well, if the plan is still to release somewhere around 27 this year, you know, that's when you know, and he confirmed that's still the case. You know, if you do roughly 5-6 ships for Invictus, 5-6 ships for IAE, that sort of leaves you with like 1 to 2 ships a month every month. So it's going to be a busy year again.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's utterly crazy. It actually kind of tells me, I actually go another way, right? I actually think they're adding a 3rd sail.
I do too. I'll be honest with you. I've said it before. I'm starting to think that they're going to make Defense Con a bigger thing.
Well, the way I look at it is, if you have 5 ships per sail, that's 15. That leaves 12. That's 1 a month.
Yeah.
So basically, it gives you a 3rd sail. And
it does.
Or at least 2 smaller sails, right? So you've obviously got Alien Week. I think would you agree that the Raelian would be very silly if it didn't come at Alien Week? Like, finally, Alien ship. I think they've got the message.
I would have to.
Somehow.
I would have to think it would. If it doesn't, well, here's the thing. If it's coming at Alien Week, then I would have to suspect very, very soon we're going to start getting hints and previews and stuff talking about that ship, because it's been a while since we've seen anything on it. But to be fair, you know, CIG has for 2025, they definitely kept ship stuff close to the vest.
Yeah,
you know, pretty much all year. I would hope, though, on some of these big important ships, we start getting a little bit of discussion about them beforehand, and I would think the Raelin would be one of those.
Yeah, well, I also think I get this feeling, and you can feel free to disagree with me on this completely, but I think the feeling is, as gameplay comes into the game, we're going to start to see more ships come along with their gameplay, right? So you do I'm just going to pick one, data running, right? Because we know about the Hermes, but if the data running comes in, I'd probably expect to see a couple of ships in quick succession with data running.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I not only that, I think if, you know, there could be some ships sort of like tangentially linked to data running, because if data running's coming in, you would assume the elements of hacking might come in around the same time, just because there's maybe some connections there. You could then see ships like the Legionnaire maybe make an appearance. So there's you know, there's a whole host of ships that not only could come out, but we could also see revisits to some of the older ships. We could see the Herald get a little love. We could see the MSR get a little love. So who knows?
Absolutely agree with that as well. Kind of bring we've seen it with them before when they kind of touched up Salvage. They brought the Reclaimer up, and then they did the Salvation, and they brought the Reclaimer up again. So they're going to get multiple passes. Real quick, George Smith, 2434, basically asked a question very similar. No, it wasn't him. Sorry, I've mixed it up. Lazarus said maybe we finally get Industry Week. That's the sale I would add, because you've kind of got, you know, AIE that's all encompassing. You've got military, and then clearly you're missing the industrial side, right? And if you include science and medical and stuff in that,
industrial, commercial, kind of 100%. And I think we need something like that.
And smack it right bang in the middle, like July, August. So you've essentially every 3 months you've got and then we've got a lull period so they can take the time off. You know, everyone goes away for the summer something. So,
that July, August period is definitely a low energy month for Star Citizen. And again, when you think of this year in particular, we, you know, for all intents and purposes, everything we've heard, Squadron 42 releasing, this is a year you want to keep energy high throughout the year. CIG, you know, Chris Roberts said in the monthly report, or in his letter from the chairman, he didn't want this big marketing campaign, or a long marketing campaign for Squadron. But what I think is all these events throughout the year for Star Citizen, that's still part of the energy behind Cloud Imperium Games. So they're going to want to keep that up, I think, the whole year.
When he said, I got two things I got to state, so I'll just say this real quickly before I get. Luna Maria asked, still no Algrid. I talked to Algrid yesterday. He wanted to come back next week, but he'll be back the week after. He asked me for an extension. I gave it to him. So I've got to go and found it. You don't want to come back next week, do you, Grim? I need a guest for next week as well. That's right. I'll find someone for next
possible.
week. Well, if you, well, you let me know.
We'll talk.
I thought I was out in the clear finally. I was like, yeah, no more having to go get people. But I need someone for next week now. But yeah, he'll be back the week after that. He's guest. It was cheaper for her to stay an extra day and go back the day after, like by a couple of $100. So he basically just asked for an extra day, and I let him have it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stop him from that at all. Okay, so extra thing ships. Hermes.
Well, you know.
Why do you think we didn't get one in December? I was kind of surprised. I was really surprised.
You know, I wasn't surprised that we didn't get it. Once like December 10th rolled around, I was like, I don't think it's happening. Not a new ship, and then you know, it's each day went by. I just got more convinced of that. But you know, it does make you wonder about January if we're going to get anything this month. It's obviously the quiet month at CIG, but again, as confirmed by C Daddy yesterday on my stream, because I think I made that comment where it's like the internal month at CIG, so you don't hear a lot of external communications going out to community. And one of the things he put in there was, it may seem quiet, but we're busier than ever. So I would have to think we're getting something in the way of a ship this month, and the only ship we've heard of on the horizon is the Hermes.
It was also,
so you know, maybe
they also did that sneak peek as well of it. My brain goes to this, you know, and history will tell this obviously, because then they're not going to talk about this for years, right? There's all these little things along the way. I want to go back and go, so what happened on this day? And I'll go, oh yeah, blah blah blah. But I reckon what's happened, and you correct me if you think I'm wrong here. I think it got pushed because obviously they had a lot of trouble getting that patch out, right? You could tell there was a lot of people going, shit, we need to get this done. And they just cut it. They were just like, we're not going to get it in. So we'll just cut it, cut the entire ship. We've already made all this money this year. Stuff it. We'll just cut the ship and get the patch out, go take, you know, the break off and get it in after. And they just made an executive decision. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it just became one of those things. I mean, they ended the year kind of big anyways. I mean, drop-in engineering was no small thing to put into the game. I'm sure it was just weighed across everything that had been delivered. And, you know, it was a busy year, and then you end on engineering being your last drop of the year. I think it was a safe bet for them to hold off. You know, I don't think they lost any momentum by not having a December ship, I guess is what I'm saying. I do feel like coming off of 2025, I was a little bit like, whew, okay, that was a year. You know, there was a lot of stuff going on there. So, but this allows them to again, if we think the Hermes is as far along as we think it is, it allows them to kick off the year in a strong way. Because if the Hermes is what we think it is, if we think it's that a generalist Apollo variant sort of type ship, then that's a pretty exciting release, I think, for people right there starting in January. You know what I mean? It's not like you're starting off the year by releasing the Fortune or something like that. You're releasing a ship that's going to get some attention.
Yeah. So I was watching this video yesterday.
These are my most anticipated games.
Play sound. Good. Cool. Awesome. I was watching this video yesterday, right? Now this is by Jack Frags, right? This is his most anticipated games of this year. This guy's played Star Citizen. He did not mention Squadron 42, right? and it got me thinking. I'm like, so he knows about Star Citizen, but he doesn't know about Squadron. And it was this penny drop moment again, where it reminded me that they don't know it's coming. They have no clue that this is coming, right? And you go through and look at the games in this list, and there's some good games in here, right? He starts it off with Grand Theft Auto, right? Everyone knows about Grand Theft Auto. But then it goes downhill pretty quickly after that. I would say besides Grand Theft Auto, I don't think anyone really knows much about the games in this list, right? So long story, like I know a few of them, right? I've met them in passing, but I wouldn't say they're my most anticipated. So everyone's going to have a different list, right? But the point I'm trying to make is, I guarantee if you go out and look, there's almost no one that says Squadron 42. And the funny thing is, he has this comment saying, "Tell me about your most anticipated games." I said Squadron 42, and then I got 2 replies after that. You know, they give you notifications of other people saying Squadron 42. So I wasn't the only one telling him.
Well, and here's the thing. I've been thinking about this more and more, especially since CR in the letter from the chairman talked about not a long marketing campaign. And it got me to thinking, you know, the more I think about it, it may be a good thing that a lot of people don't know about it because, and here's why, because generally anytime someone makes a mention of Squadron 42 or an article comes out with Squadron 42, there's baggage attached, right? There's negative baggage. People, either the article's going to caveat, the author's going to caveat it, or if someone says, "I'm looking forward to Squadron 42, you're going to have 18 people post, scam, you know, whatever. So in some ways, I almost think it's better that people don't know. And when it releases, it's a little bit out of nowhere and surprises people. We've had a number of games over the past year alone that kind of, I wouldn't say they came out of nowhere, but they kind of dropped and people were like in love with them, you know, whether it was, you know, Ark or you know, there's tons of other games, can't think of them right off the top of my head, but you get what I'm saying? Like, and let it generate its buzz based off its release and people playing it versus the baggage that is attached to it, whether warranted or not. Well, so the more I think about it, it might be a good strategy.
Yeah, well, again, I was reminded of that again this week. I took a friend Ads into the game. He's never played Star Citizen before. He's kind of watched me, like I've asked him to watch streams a little bit with me, but he's never been in it himself. And he was a nightmare to teach. I've learned, do not teach people with ADHD how to play this game. Awfully bad, right? But that's not the point. But the things I learned from him though was just like his comments would be, "I can't believe that this has made $1 billion. It's not ready for $1 billion." And he wasn't even thinking about Squadron or anything like that. So what I was learning was the perception an outsider, so to speak, has compared to like those of us that are kind of invested. And it was really interesting insight to just kind of think totally disconnected, right? So I've always been one of those people that can this innate ability to put myself in other people's shoes. And when I started kind of doing what he was doing, I just went, "Oh wow, yeah, they're kind of free and clear for a while, you know." And I think it's going to go a little bit like Baldur's Gate. I think it's going to be one of those games that come out and it just to the moon. That's my feeling. I could be wrong, but that's my feeling.
Yeah, and just reading chat, you know, I can see, you know, Squadron 42 is obviously generates you know, opinions from people, and they're all valid for various reasons. And I noticed one of them said there, you know, he mentioned Paul's experience with game marketing. I know he has a history of that, and
we've done that. Just so you know, Dash. Paul's on here a lot, and I've talked to both Grim, Paul, SA does marketing as well. I've talked to all 3 of you. Picked all your brains. Don't worry, I've done that.
The interesting thing there, because you know I've worked in marketing for a while too, and you know the interesting thing there is that while all of us have our experiences in marketing, can give our opinion on marketing and stuff, Squadron does kind of exist in a weird place that is not the norm when it comes to marketing it. It's everything everyone has ever seen of it looks really impressive. So on the surface, it's very, very impressive, but it's got all this baggage attached with it. But it's not like a previous release project that was out to the public that has baggage. It's still internal stuff that has baggage. So it's really kind of a bizarre thing to market. And even myself, and I don't work in games, though. I work in film and television. But like very rarely is there like a really terrible movie that comes out, like let's say the first movie comes out and it's terrible, and then you hype up the second one and the sequel. Usually a sequel's never made if there's a terrible movie. So when a sequel comes out, for example, in movie world, or the second season of a show or something, you're riding high off the hype from the first one that people loved. You know what I mean? Where Squadron, it doesn't have that. You know what I mean? And so many things about Squadron have been kept close to the vest. It is kind of a unique marketing challenge, you know. And I think Paul would probably admit the same. So
well, it is, and it's a hard thing to think about. We've talked a lot about Star Citizen being around the neck of Squadron, but here's another way to look at it, right? What about Squadron lifting Star Citizen up? We've never ever talked about it like that, because it can go that way too, like literally can.
Yeah.
Because it's proof they've finally made, like, what they've actually been working on all this time is this game.
I mean, I think it's really, and Paul would probably know more about the gaming world of marketing than I do. I'd fully admit that, but just from my perspective, I will say that, like, and I know you've been saying this a long time too. They're so self-dependent or like they're so dependent on each other. You know what I mean? The two projects. And what I mean by that is, for those of you out there that are not interested in Squadron 42, and I actually would have said that I was one of those people at one time. I will say the gameplay demo they did at the CitizenCon did change my perspective. I really am excited for it now. But if you're one of those people that just does not care about Squadron, it's not your vibe, you don't really care about it, you know, that's not what you signed up for, you should want Squadron to be extremely successful, because it is going to be the biggest billboard for Star Citizen. If Squadron fails, I will actually be very concerned about Star Citizen. You know what I mean? CIG is going to have to do a lot of, you know, for example, here's another point I'll make to that. When Squadron does release, let's all assume it releases this year. I know I've even heard in my Discord, you know, this week, someone saying, "Oh, I can't wait till Squadron's done so they can switch full force back to Star Citizen." It's not going to switch full force back to Star Citizen as soon as Squadron releases. And it's very important for them to have an all-hands-on-deck Squadron strike team when Squadron releases that solves any and every problem that game has when it releases, which it will have some. Because, again, any new product going to market, you need that live support, fixing bugs, keeping the game fresh, all that stuff. So it's going to be all hands on deck for CIG. So if they release it in, let's say they release it in June or they release it in September, you can count on the next 6 months after that a big portion of the company being focused on supporting that game's release. You're still going to have your Star Citizen people, but you know what I'm saying.
They've told us those plans too, haven't they? Like, it's always been the plan for Squadron was to fund Star Citizen. That was the plan. You know, and they always, the other thing I remember them talking about even years ago now, I think it was one of the last time Brian Chambers was on video. He was with Todd Pappy, and they talked about they're going to split the team in two essentially, and half will work on Star Citizen and half will continue work on Squadron, and they'll go on to episode 2 and stuff like that. Real quick, Arcane Danger, thank you for the tier 1 subs of a 23-month streak. Thank you, Danger, appreciate it. But no, everything you said there, I 100% agree. Long and short of it, it's one of those things, right, where if you haven't seen or kept up with the project, you miss stuff, right? And I know you've seen it, but like, you know, the guy that walked in 2 years ago, he wouldn't have seen that. And it's a really weird project to follow like that, isn't it? Because to go back and find that, and they'll go, they've never said that, and it's like, well, you've never seen them say that because you've already been here 2 years, or you've only been here 6, and they said it at year 7. It's a really weird project in that regard. We always get people that coming in, oh, I've been following almost forever. Well, you didn't follow in 2014, so you missed this, or, you know, there's always these little outliers that people miss. Even our group misses stuff that I saw, and he was like you. He came along in 2014. I believe you came along in 2014, if I remember correctly. But there's still a little couple of things that Paul and I see that other people haven't seen. And even in that time, because the way news came out, there's things that Paul saw that I missed, and vice versa, because it wasn't like widely publicized as well. So,
and you know, when Squadron releases, one thing I hope it does is, and we've already seen some of this, don't get me wrong, but I do hope the success of Squadron, what I hope will be the success of Squadron, reinvigorates CIG into not just pushing through Star Citizen faster, but putting an energy behind it to start solidifying a lot of the details that some of us have heard back in 2014 or 2016, but start bringing all that disparate stuff into a clear, concise vision idea of what Star Citizen is that they can put out to the public, to all the new Squadron 42 players and all that, because again, they're gonna want that player base to transfer over to Star Citizen, right? And so that's one thing I hope. And again, we got a little bit of that from Richard Tyre at 2 Citizen Cons ago at the 1.0 talk, but that was still limited in many ways, right? There was still a lot of details missing from that, and I hope when we see the release of it this year, hopefully that we see a renewed energy at the company. And I think I think we've been seeing a new energy in the company. Honestly, I feel like since server meshing came on board, I do feel like there's been, now that core tech has been proven to work, I feel like the company has had a little bit of energy behind it. So just purely looking from the outside.
The Silver Surface says Squadron 42 launch will stop all other focus. I think that's kind of what last year was. If you actually sit back and look at what happened last year, the mission team pretty much carried the whole of Star Citizen, so everyone else could go work on Squadron. And then, there were a few core people that didn't have to put out multiple patches, so they're able to focus all the way to that patch at the end of the year. That's why you saw all those Vulcan improvements and engine improvements and stuff like that, because they just sat and cooked all year long, right? So they went to almost like a skeleton crew for Star Citizen, but the people that were key people were just allowed to cook all year long. So you can thank Elliot. Elliot's team, I should say, carried the whole of Star Citizen last year, and it was really obvious to me they had heaps of people assisting with Squadron, like testing the shit out of it, polishing the crap out of it. It's kind of like what Speed Daddy was saying, like, we are busier than ever. Well, they're busier than ever because they're getting ready to release a game. Like, it's just that simple. I remember, I don't know how much you know of the finals of it, but the last 10% of a game is almost as much work as the first 90%. And as you're trying to get it all polished and off together, like, it becomes ultimate crunch, right? You just
Yeah. And, again, using the letter from the chairman is the touch point here. There was a lot of other surprising things in there. I mean, just hearing that dynamic server meshing was a target this year to release. I mean, that's going to be a big uplift from those teams and stuff. So that's what I talk about when it feels like there's an energy going on. While last year felt low energy for Star Citizen, it was sort of placated and stuff by the mission team, like you're saying, and I think they did a great job. It was not flawless, but I think hopefully a lot of lessons were learned. And it would be really interesting. I could see Jared doing an episode on this. I could really see an episode on with the mission teams and talking about 2025, sort of a year in review, and hearing, how they felt about it, what they learned about it, especially moving forward towards a 1.0 future. It'd be interesting to hear, because 2025 was a unique year for Star Citizen.
I just got some people telling me that your volume is much louder than my volume, so I just adjusted the volume to suit. I've normally got it set up for our grid. No, we're all good. We're about balanced now. You can see the lines there. But yeah, I've got it set up for our grid because our grid is really bad with his volume, and normally I don't have to test Grim's volume. I've got to turn myself down because Algrid doesn't know how to set his shit up properly. But I digress. Hopefully it's better for you now, Feather McClaw. I adjusted it, and hopefully it's yeah, all right. Let's take a question real quick. Lazarus says, found my cat in my engine bay trying to stay warm. He was just a kitten, maybe 4 weeks old, and that was 14 years ago. Wow, well, he's as old as my cat was. My cat, I got in 2012, which is just before Star Citizen kind of kicked off. I got him in around March, April. So he basically, that kind of scares you when you think of it like that. Star Citizen has outlived a cat.
Right.
It's taken longer to
development of Star Citizen. Yeah,
it's kind of scary when you look at it like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I don't think there's many games that can say that. But that's kind of crazy to me. So yeah, I'm glad I fixed it for you. Sorry, we didn't do a sound test. We normally do a sound test. We didn't actually do one this morning because, as I said, Grim and I are usually on point. So yeah. George Smith says, I am hoping for more dedicated stealth fighters. That what manufacturer could build the next stealth fighter? I'll let you take that one. Actually,
I think I'd want to see one from Kruger. Would probably be my bet.
The Stingray?
Yeah, maybe it's a Stingray. You know, I forgot about that. Maybe it's a Stingray. That could be a cool. Yeah.
So I've got another video people might want to watch. I found this during the week, right? This guy comes up in my feed every once in a while, again in a while.
Yeah.
And he did this episode on the US Air Force's proposed stealth tanker, right? And it's called the Stingray. And I was like, I wonder, so could it be some kind of refueler? Just saying. Totally outside the box.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be it. But I thought it was interesting. Yeah. Could Kruger do a combat refueler? And I was like, that's interesting. You know, so it's like it's just literally a tanker that takes fuel to the fighters. That's kind of unique, and it's kind of on brand if you do the math.
It would be unique for Kruger in that they sort of anchor their ships behind a weapon of some sort, right? Some sort of unique weapon, but not that a refueler couldn't have that. But you know, I forgot about the Stingray. Hopefully that one's not too far off. Actually, I've been really enjoying the Alpha Wolf.
I would love to see. So you know how I talked about there being a bigger fuel tanker, and I called it the Nebula. Can you imagine that the Nebula has like a snubcraft, almost like the Merlin, but it's a refueling tanker. So the tanker can fly off into atmosphere where the ship can't go, refuel people, and come back to the mothership.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
And it's Kruger, so it works as a snub ship. Oh, I like it.
Yeah. From a manufacturer's standpoint, though, when you're thinking stealth, you are thinking somewhat advanced, at least advanced material sciences.
Sorry. Yeah, so he said stealth.
Just from a manufacturer.
I went elsewhere. Sorry, yeah.
I would just say from a manufacturer standpoint, that does somewhat, eliminate some manufacturers for sure, because it would be so out of pocket.
Well, we don't have the full range of Kruger yet either, right? So just making it luxury combat seems a bit niche for a manufacturer. So could we see a stealth variant? I think it's in the cards, but I wouldn't say no or yes. I just don't think we've seen either way yet, which way they're going to lean.
I think it could be Kruger, it could be Anvil, it could be Aegis, it could, any of those manufacturers that play in that world. When we think of stealth fighter, we don't think of manufacturers like Drake and stuff like that. Certainly not industrial manufacturers like Argo. So you do start to kind of have a limited set of options on the type of company that could build something like that. So
Well, again, if we look at the pre-existing manufacturers, I think we'd have to agree it's probably Aegis or Anvil, that they kind of have the stealth down at the moment. The only other one we really have is Misk.
Yeah.
Not Misk, sorry, Mirai now, because they put the Razor with Mirai. So I think they're the only three I can really think of that have anything related to stealth at all. So could we use another one? Yeah, we could. And I think stealth is going to become one of those. Like Bops is saying, stealth is the real meta at the moment for PvP.
PvP stuff. I can really see that's stealth becoming like the clutch that can, that takes you over that line from being effective to not effective in PvP combat. So.
Well, Pete's gone the other way. Like he's gone stealth as well because he doesn't like PvP. But he goes, like, he'll take these vehicles and he'll put stealth components in and even turn off certain components so he can literally become invisible. And, like, he's going up against, like, the Vandal craft in Nyx, and he can just go straight past them. They don't even know he's there. He's literally going within 40 meters of some of them. Can't even see him.
Yeah.
Bananas. Absolute bananas. So, obviously, stealth's got to be tweaked. 40 meters is visual range. Come on. Like, there he goes.
Yeah.
So, but like it worked at the moment. It works. So I'm like, so this is you can see where they're going now. Stealth is literally going to come down to, I can see them or I don't. Like you can really hide that signature. So I don't. Again, maybe those numbers are going to be tweaked a little bit. But you could see the benefit of stealth now. Stealth is going to be a thing,
yeah.
but more of a realistic stealth. And so I think those ships may come around again. I'm already seeing them being very popular right now. Like the Prowler utility, I'm looking at it a completely different light in the last month or two.
Yeah.
You know, the other ones too, like the stealth, the ghost, and the razor and stuff like that. But you can even take normal ships that are just smaller, like a Pisces, and it works on those too.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons, and not to tangent too much, but it's one of the reasons I'm so excited for these instanced tactical fleet operation things that we heard about that are supposed to be coming this year, because I'm hoping that gives CIG this kind of nice little closed off sandbox gameplay experiment that they can test not just how a ship works like an arena commander, because obviously could do this there, but how a stealth ship, for example, could play a role in a larger fleet battle, figure out some use cases for it beyond just, you know, overall signature reduction. And one of the main things I think about when I think about that is like, how does a stealth ship and its signature hide amongst a larger fleet operation? Because we saw that previously with the scanning gameplay and all that, where they showed us a few years back, where ships are going to be able to hide within the noise, you know, the IR and EM noise of a large capital ship. It's going to be really interesting to see how some of our, you know, light fighters, stealth fighters, heavy fighters, all that kind of stuff play within that playground. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm watching a little romance develop in Twitch chat between Buzzkiller and Monty Rob. Are you seeing that? That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So it turns out Buzzkiller makes a bunch of preset. What did you say? Preset. Are you the guy that makes those stick binding presets? And then Bob is, holy shit, dude, you saved my life. I think that's great. I'm glad you guys found each other.
I use it myself.
If
very
I could
handy.
have like a romance thing pop up right now and just like perfect match, you know, like it's just like, oh my god, it was good. It was good to see the bromance there. I really liked that. It was great. So yeah, there was a lot of first time chatters we missed as well, because Grim and I've been discussing, but yeah, thank you to the people that did the first time chats. So Dash talked about one. Monty Rob talked about one. He says my cat knows how to play basketball. No, he couldn't play basketball. He couldn't. He's actually asleep in a cowboy hat in this one, and this was actually one of the very first days I got him, and it's still one of the best photos I've ever. But yeah, let's do another question real quick. Donnie asks, has the recent hotfix done the trick for 4.5? You No, I had a really big server error the other day. Like right at the end when I was playing with my friend Ads, we were killing the Yamundi, and we killed both of them, and then we got a server crash. Right as we're about to start looting them, the whole thing went down, and it didn't recover. It hard crashed. We both got back to desktop.
Yeah, I haven't played any this year, actually, in the 2026 calendar year. What's it, 9 days now? I haven't played any in 9 days. Again, getting back from a holiday trip and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't had the chance, but I've heard that it's been a little rough out there on the servers. So
it was always going to be with a big patch like engineering, but also like right at the end of the year. They try, right? They're human like the rest of us, right? And they're always going to try.
I actually think it could have been a lot worse when they dropped engineering. It could have been a lot worse.
I'm still like Paul will say the same thing, right? I'm still the guy that says put it in broken. Oh, we're gonna raid there. Real Chappy TV. Thank you, Real Chappy, for the raid there, mate. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I gotta do this. Chappy. You know the robot Chappy?
Yeah.
Always...
Yeah.
Well, no. Anyway. Nice to see you, Chappy. Right. What was the question again? It was about the hotfix. So yeah, I'm always a fan of it going in broken and just fix it as we go, right? Because when you're not going to be able to do that soon. But once the normies come along after Squadron releases, they're not going to put up with this shit. I think.
Yeah. It's.
Go ahead.
And that's sort of what I mean when I made that comment about energy. You're just going to see, and again, they've been doing this. I do think there was a concerted effort in 2025 to do this, but that pressure will just get bigger and bigger once they have a product out to market. Now there's going to be more eyes on the project, higher expectations, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's a hard one to quantify for me, because when you kind of add it all in, there's a lot of moving parts. You now start to see and appreciate marketing people, right? Like, how do you track all those things? And they're not going to get it right all the time, right? Like, where we sit here and criticize them a lot, there's obviously a lot they get right as well, right? And I'm not a marketing guy, so I can obviously see what they're doing wrong, but I can't see what they're doing right. So, how do I sit here and I can't critique them like I critique other things. I can only give them the negative reinforcement. I can't give them the positive reinforcement.
And the only thing we really have to go on, other than their mistakes, is the funding tracker. And we know that they're bringing money in. You know what I mean? We know that when people look at the project, there is enough, whatever you want to call it, marketing, spin, propaganda, whatever you want to call it, right? Positive or negative. There's enough of that going on that's creating a sense of not only existing players who've already invested a lot of money, but new players to want to invest. So again, from a marketing perspective, purely them doing their job as marketers, they're doing a bang up job. I mean, crazy good job. But again, as we've said, once that live product's out to market and there's all these new eyes, new gaming journalists, all that stuff paying attention, their job's going to get a bit more complicated, I think. And you're going to see that represented in like how they interact with creators, how much of a presence CIG needs to have in terms of making themselves available for interviews with gaming journalists or Twitch drops and this and that and the other, like all those other things that they haven't really had to do a lot of until you get a product out there. Now they've been flirting with some of that. We had our first Twitch drop recently, but you're gonna have to see all those pistons start firing once you have the product out.
I even think that was a test.
Yeah,
I think that was I think that was a test for a Squadron Twitch drop.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Zorgal, thank you for the membership on YouTube. We're actually getting really close to 18K, by the way. I think we're like 4 subscribers away. Because we got really, really close, and then AIE ends and we lose a bunch of people. It happens every time. And so we went back down by like 50 or whatever, and then we'll slowly start to go up again. So that'll clock over in a little bit as it does. I've never really been super there's so many people following us. I just like talking about the game and enjoying the game with people. So we grow a lot slower than other people. Like, we always do the subscribe thing, like as you're meant to do, but we do it right at the end. You notice how everyone does it right at the beginning? You do it at the end as well, don't you? You don't do it right at the start
most of the time, and most of the time it's the chatters that remind people to do it, which I'm very thankful of. So
yeah, that's what happens here as well. So we just prefer to talk about the game, and whatever happens. Like, we just blase. And I think that's the better way to be, personally. Like, I'm here to enjoy the game first and enjoy the community and everything else that comes after that. So
you can tell we get excited for the game because we forget our own promotion. We just talk about the game.
Yeah, it's so true. Oh,
Daft
shit.
Digit just gifted 5 subs.
Oh, thank you, Daft. Oh, there's a hype train.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you for that. Raving Nuts, Lowry Tep, Lucan the Asgard, Zilpid, and El General Lurker. Make sure you give a thank to Daft Digit for your subs. Appreciate that, Daft. Didn't do that, but thank you.
Luke, Daft, appreciate it.
My cat Dante is a Napoleon, complex as he is, smallest of 3, but he just found a way the other day to get the top cabinet above the fridge and loves looking down at us. That doesn't sound ominous at all. Oh, humans.
No.
Look at them.
It's judgment. It's pure judgment.
Pure judgment. Next he's gonna be like casting his finger at you. Like, sounds like a movie villain. You know how they did what was that movie? Like, I think they did Cats and Dogs or something like that, and the cats were the bad guys. It reminds me of that.
There is a movie like that. What was it?
I can't remember, but it was Fluffy or something. Was the villain, and they were the cats.
I think it was like Life with Pets.
Life with Pets or Life of Pets. Yeah, something like that. Yep. So yeah, I don't know, but I've never like. A lot of people prefer dogs, right? I get that. Dogs are the more popular. But when you actually look at the history of animals too, it's really interesting because dogs have been domesticated for like some ridiculous number, like 4,000 to 5,000 years, right? Cats have only been domesticated for the last 1,500. So you can instantly see, well, that's why cats are a little bit more wild and untamed. And also, cats can still breed with wild cats. There are people that have gone out and they're backward engineered. Like they're really bad-tempered cats, but they look like leopards and stuff like that because So, it's just a little weird for me to kind of compare the two. And again. Yeah, even if they are a wild animal, I've seen people who've got raccoons, right, in the States.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's how the animal is treated and raised. And I've seen dogs as an example, that are really well behaved, but I've seen dogs that have been just totally abused, and they're savage. Yeah, and I've seen it with cats as well. Yeah. So. It's like it's like children, any children that are raised well. I think that's what cats have taught me the most, right? Like or the animals that I've had, I should say, because I've had dogs as well. Is preparation for parenthood. Like I've seen people that have had animals like, you should not have children, and then they've had children and the kid is not the best behaved kid. Let's just put it that way. Right. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I saw that coming. But being a single guy myself, you get really attached to your pets. They do become literally family members. And I don't see them as disposable. I do see them as value members of families. And a lot of people will put a lot of love in their animal. I can tell you now, and I guarantee the people in the audience that probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for animals. Like I had some, like, this guy carried me through some really bad times in my life, right? He was, and oh man, if you're down, they know you're down, right? They pick up on this shit. They're, and I think a lot of it's got to do with because they're very non-verbal in their communication. They pick up on it more. Like, I know that sounds weird, but they're really good at it. Dogs do it as well. My brother's dog is insane. Like, he knows when my brother's down. Yeah, like, and if he'll even, like, if my brother gets angry, his dog will bark at him, tell him, like, don't be pissed. It's quite funny to watch. He gets annoyed. It's like, oh, okay, he's barking, I gotta stop now. Shit like that, right? So it's just kind of funny. Like, they are little people, and I've had people turn around and say, oh, they're just an animal. Well, that kind of is an insult to you, not to the animal, because it shows you don't have the emotional intelligence to see what they do, in my personal opinion. So I don't ever look down on animals. We are animals ourselves. We communicate. There's a guy, he's an there was a YouTube video. I didn't watch it, but I saw the thumbnail and I thought that was amazing. This guy, for the last 12 years, he's been studying ravens, and he found out they have syllables and like they have a language. And he found out, and the example they have on the thumbnail was like Jar Jar, and Jar Jar means snake. Isn't that weird? Wow. So they go, and that means like snake. I thought that was insane. I was like,
that was wild, yeah.
Well, I always kind of suspected, because they have these different tones that they use. And what if our ears are like, I'll give you an example. Vietnamese, right? Vietnamese is the hardest human language to learn, and that's because you can have some of the words, not all the words, but some of the words have up to 7 different phonic sounds. Well, I can barely sound. You know how you and I, you get humans that argue over Newcastle, or I say Raylien or Raylen and stuff like that, right? Or different accents or whatever like that. We argue over that, and here are the Vietnamese using the same word 7 different ways.
I know.
Just saying, right? Yeah. So it shows how simple we are compared to some other humans, let alone some other animals. So, yeah.
And there's been a lot of studies too around, obviously dolphins and whales and a lot of other animals that just when you deep dive it really does blow you away, especially some of the communication and language characteristics.
Yeah. Getting a lot of watch streaks come up today. So yeah, thank you. I'm just saying thank you to people.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah. Next question. The Silver Surfer. Do you think they will ever allow us to crush multiple ships going forward to put against more expensive ships? Does he mean melt? He says
I think he means like group ships to like if you want to do a ship upgrade, but you can group multiple ships together to upgrade to a single bigger ship. Because right now you can only do a CCU that's a single ship to single ship. Essentially, what he's wanting to know is about a group that comes together, and then you CCU that.
Yeah, because if you've saved money on two of them, I see where he's going now. For their benefit, no, I don't think you will, because they'll just expect you to melt it and add it to the other one. So if you saved $100 on both, you're shit out of luck. So yeah, unfortunately, I think you're shit out of luck. You just got to plan, man. That's what a lot of the Fix My Fleet stuff is. It's just
it's a lot of effort to put in just to save us money. It doesn't really have any benefit for them because you could just melt the ships and they're still going to get the money. They still retain, that investment you made. So I doubt it.
Yeah. Okay. He also asked, do you think the best challenge of Squadron 42 is the PC requirements to play this smoothly? No, I think Star Citizen's running pretty well as it is now at the moment. Like how's it? Like up until before this patch, right? And even during this patch, it still runs really well, like a really good frame rate. You watch some of the videos that me and Agra did before he went away, they're looking pretty sweet. Like when we're in game and stuff.
I agreed, and I think a lot of the issues we do have on the performance side aren't really a hardware issue. It's optimization issues that they can do to the code. There's still some stuff that, for example, I'll just do interior ship culling. They have been doing some of it because I know you've even seen weird like interior culling things going on with some ships. But there's a lot of stuff they could do there. They talked before about viz areas and ships and environments and stuff like that. But and then bringing on things like dynamic server meshing, eventually Maelstrom and stuff. There's a lot of optimization is like this big tug of war, and that battle's still going to happen for a while.
Well,
there's going to be times where it runs great, times where it doesn't run great.
Well, it always kind of comes at the end. You can't optimize if everything's not in, right? And Star Citizen's always going to be these moving goalposts. Squadron not so much as it goes along. It'll especially episode 1, it'll kind of solidify. And I think that's what they really want, a polished experience, because they know that they've only got one chance to impress. And if it comes out and it's relatively bug free, that I
think the optimization we see now and that we've seen over the past few years has always been optimization sort of centered around a new feature or new thing coming in on a patch. Like, hey, we're bringing in engineering. We need to optimize to get that to work well. The optimization we're talking about, by the way, right now is like overall optimization to get the game running to some specific metric that they consider 1.0 release quality, in terms of performance. So I just don't think we're there yet. Again, they do optimize now. I'm not saying they don't. It's just there's a different focus to that optimization.
Yeah. So Wastelanders SC says, our cat Gatsby is 15 years old and still up and running. Cat is a survivor, was in the Air Force, and has been all over the world. Lucky motherfucker.
That cat has served multiple tours of duty.
Do you know what I'd love? Is a cat that lived on a submarine. Sounds amazing to me. It's just lived its whole life, and you just open the curtain to go into your bunk, and it's like...
Well, that's kind of the vibe you get from the cat that's in the was it Alien? You know, when they're on the ship and there's Jonesy.
Well, why do you reckon? I don't
know if Jonesy got frozen.
Well, he did. He went with her after in the first one, and then they let him go, okay. and then she talks about it, and then she lets him stay on Earth.
You're right.
Right, but in the first episode. Like you kind of sit there and ask yourself, well, why do they have a cat on this ship where they're out for 50+ years? Well, because they're social animals, and it allows it increases people's quality of life. They've actually found that when you have a pet, it increases the longevity of your life because they reduce your depression and all this type of stuff. So And then someone else said, first time chatter, I like to read first time chatter. The space Poseidon says, I wonder why store credit can't be used for war bond. Well, war bond is literally just to encourage you to give them fresh money, so they make more money.
Yeah,
it's that simple. Just put it on what is best for Star Citizen and you can answer most of the questions of why pretty quickly. So yeah. All right, so we've probably only got about 6 or 7 questions yet left. That one we don't have to do because that was about the volume. So if you want to get some more questions in, please feel free. What is your profession in Star Citizen 1.0? And that is from -2342. What would be your first profession?
For me, it'll be base building. That's where most of my interest is in building bases. I will say though that I do understand that with building bases, there's a lot of it pretty much will touch almost every other gameplay loop. You know, when I say building bases, it also a little bit means mining, a little bit means salvaging, a little bit means refining, crafting. They all sort of tie into that to create base building. So by saying base building, I think all those little industrial gathering loops. I think that's kind of my focus.
I think that's kind of a little bit like my answer. I think mine's just going to be jack of all trades. I think I'm probably always going to have to be someone that's a jack of all trades, like with the way the channel and that is. You know, so it'll be really good. I'll be probably really good at bringing people into the game, as an example. But if we wanted to do, say we did an episode on mining, we would go out and get a professional like John Citizen, you know, and he would, you know, and you know, give him full credit and say, you know, John's really good at this and talk about it and give them their time in the sun and give them full credit. And then, you know, pick profession, we do the same thing with somebody else. So it's not about, as I said, like me and Algorithm, we switched back in like 2018 from knowing everything about the game to finding people because the game was just too big. It's just too big. So it's like more like a search for the truth. And I think
you're going to need, you know, whether it's you or the people you run with. And again, it's why it is important that even if you're very much a solo-minded player, it is important to have probably a few good friends because, or a few at least you know, affiliates or whatever you want to call them in the game. Get out and meet a few people because a lot of the gameplay loops. Yes, you're going to be able to run them solo. Like you could probably go be a solo miner. But mining is going to touch a lot of other professions. I think that's the ultimate goal of Star Citizen is that all of our professions tie into all the other professions. So to get the most out of them, you're going to either want to do multiple professions yourself and or link up with a group, and even if it's just 2 or 3 people that do professions that tie into what you do. You know what I mean? So maybe one of them loves doing refining and you're a miner, you know, and having that tie-in. Because then you can refine that material, sell it for more money than what you mined it at its raw state. So, you know, again, it's one of those games where you can absolutely focus on one profession, but you should really be sort of open to how all the professions play together, because I believe they will pretty important, you know, like pretty critically.
You saw that, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Someone said sneak peek in YouTube chat, and I went and looked, and I found this, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yes, that looks like a Hermes.
But what is that? What is that?
Yeah,
it says, "Man, I'm gonna have to put on my old man glasses."
Class B energy emitter. So I think we're pretty. I think that Grey Cat thing has got to be some sort of tractor beam.
It looks like a tractor beam to me. And
you'll notice the rear of the ship.
It's got a rail all the way through as well. So that's
I think the rear of that ship looks very similar to the rear of the Apollo, but with the plug changed out.
Yeah, so I think it is a car. I think it literally is an MSR competitor now. I think we've kind of confirmed that. So that confirms to me that is a higher class of maybe it's a class 3 tractor beam instead of a class 2.
Now the only thing here though is if that is the rear of the ship down there, it does look like there's still side walls over there of which those other rooms were in on the existing. So
I think the back 2 rooms are the data rooms, because remember how they had the caps on the thing? So I think they're the data rooms, like on the MSR, and then the 2 modular rooms, like where the medical bed goes, is where all the cargo went. That's what I originally suspected, but I wasn't sure. So currently, based on what I'm seeing in this picture, because you'll also notice if you look at, I need to get my mouse pointer. See here, that's the line where the glass wall would be for the medical room, there and there.
Right.
And they're not there.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think this is turning out just as I thought it was going to be, but I wasn't sure, right? Because you can never be 100% certain, but this is turning out exactly as I thought it was going to turn out.
And with those walls not there, the question then becomes, is the Hermes a modular ship or not?
Well,
like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe since those walls are not there and it's just open room now, maybe it's not a modular ship.
But is it modular? The question you really got to ask is, well, it's modular, right? But is it modular to us as well as the developers? That's the real question you're asking.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So what you're essentially asking is, can I swap out the cargo rooms? That's essentially what you're asking, yeah?
Yeah.
Because it's clearly modular, because it was an Apollo like minivac, and now it's an Apollo Hermes.
Yeah.
So
one thing I will point out here, just in terms of, and this is speculation, obviously, to be fair, but one thing when I look at these sneak peeks is one of the first things I look at is lighting, because that's one of the last things I think CIG, according to their pipeline, really polish up. And if you'll notice here, there's a lot of like intricate lighting on the floor and stuff like that going on. So again, speculating, but I would think this ship is not far off at all. Like really,
especially with especially with the second sneak peek, especially since we're 10 days into January. I would say probably next week, or whenever the PTU wave starts, probably.
Yeah, and you'll know it because if they're open with it, you'll know it on a Monday, because they'll announce that there's going to be a behind the ships episode that week.
But it also shows they're learning. This rail that goes on the inside, that is massive foresight that we haven't been seeing previously. So they've sat there and gone, well, you could think of all the ships where you've had to the Zeus. How annoying is it to load shit into the Zeus? It is a pain in the ass.
I still think the Hercules,
put a rail in, and you can just
any ship really that has a long cargo bay like that, for sure.
Well, it means, because think about it. Normally, when you deploy, you can't use the tractor beam, right?
Right.
So what I'm wondering is, now can I lock onto something, click the deploy button, and it just runs down the track and it pulls the box with me into the thing? You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, that pulling in a straight line, that awkwardness is completely removed. And also, it probably means, well, even if I can't do that, it tells me that I reckon my last confirmation, right? Remember I said at the back that I reckon it's a lift? I reckon this kind of semi-confirms it's a lift, because you tell me if you think I'm wrong here, right? So if it's the traditional tractor beam and it's just a track and you can't pull it while it's deployed, you send it to the back and you have the lift up or lift down, you pull the boxes onto the lift, you pull the lift up, send the tractor beam to the back, and you just grab them and pull them in a straight line because they're sitting on the lift.
Yeah,
so,
that could be something.
So I think this kind of tells me, more than likely, my suspicion of a lift being at the back is more than likely correct. I could be wrong, but that is currently how it works in game right now. The other option is you can actually move with it on the track, which I think actually requires new functionality. So knowing that, I'm more likely to think it's a lift. I have to wait and see. But everything I thought that this was going to be besides the lift is exactly as I called it up until this point. But
I personally do hope too that it's got some external differences from the Apollo. Nothing big. I just think some like Greeble stuff,
You can Greeble? Do you know
where it could be something as simple as like one of those spoiler things they put on some of the RSI ships, some of those little details.
I think it's an RSI stable. I think it's going to be the glass. They've done it on the Mantis to the Meteor. They've done it on the Connie to the Aquila. I think it's a glass, bro. I think, if you think about how the front was, what if they made it more Aquila-like, as an example, instead of more Meteor-like or whatever? Like, I think that's probably what's going to be the difference. And to them it's modular. To us, I don't think it will be. I think it is probably just going to be a cargo runner. And the other thing they could do is when they sell it, they could say with other modules to come in the future. Because again, you look at this outlay, what could you do with it, right? And my brain instantly goes to, well, what if it was temperature controlled cargo? No ship has that currently.
Yeah.
And you could do that right now. You could say this ship has extra modules in it that allows you to do temperature controlled cargo. And that instantly separates it from the MSR. Because the other thing is the MSR's got 3 people. This has only got 2. So technically this is a weaker version. It's very close to the MSR, but it's weaker.
Let me ask you this. If this ship is let's put aside the data running stuff for a minute. Let's say this ship is just a cargo variant. Okay, let's go bottom line, like bottom dollar here. Let's say it's just a cargo variant. What would this ship have to have in terms of capabilities to make you purchase this over the the many other cargo ships available?
If it's just a cargo ship, it's definitely not a ship for me. But I think from what I was looking with our grid, now it may not turn out this way, but when we looked at it, we worked out that you could fit a 32 SU cargo. I can't remember if it was the back wall or the wall next to the data running room, but we worked out that length was perfect for a 32 SU cargo container, of which you could probably then fit 4 each side. So it holds like 8. So think of like the old hull B, but internal. So it can hold 4 on each arm, basically.
Right.
4 on each side, SCU, in 32 cargo containers internally. No ship that does that.
Yeah.
Can hold big
That's true.
Like you look at the Spirit as an example. The Spirit's a medium ship. I know this is a large, but I guess you could do it in bigger ships. Like you look at the Connie though, but the Connie only holds like 96. So it's like what was it? It wasn't 96. It was 96 SC. Yeah, I think it's 96 SC.
Oh, it's
so it's like 3 containers.
Yeah, I think so.
And so you can only hold them in like 16 SCU cargo containers. So the fact that it's a more standardized, large cargo container, it makes it appealing because you save time. If you can, like, it's one of the downsides of the Caterpillar right now. The Caterpillar, I think, is on 24 SCU cargo containers, which is a really weird one because most are either 16 or 32. So it puts this the Caterpillar in this really weird spot where you got to change all the cargo over, and that's going to take time. So ships like that, they drop off, right? So if you can just stay in the same 32 where most of the whole series is going to be, it's an advantage. And again, that's why the whole A drops over the off of the whole bit, the Golem Ox, because the Golem Ox could just carry the 32s. He doesn't give a shit. Right. And I don't think people are ready for that yet. Like, it might be 5 minutes, but if you've got to do 5 minutes every time to change the cargo containers, and then instantly as soon as you get back to a whole C, you want to change back, it'll drive you mental. So just being able to make it that universal, I think the Golem, I don't know, for me, the Golem is in a better place than the whole A, but again, I guess time will tell. Again, the designers are putting the whole A above the Golem. So there's some little things in there still that I haven't even cracked out, or you know, if someone's got an idea, please feel free to school me. I'd love to learn, but I can't see why you want to, like, I know there's the living quarters, right? But knowing the whole A, for example, is just stationed a planet most of the time, the Golem just seems like the clear winner at the moment, and it's cheaper. So I'd
agree.
Some disconnect there that I'm not seeing. You know, and I've not heard anyone be able to tell me why that is. And I kind of look at this and go, well, if it can hold 32s above 16s, it instantly puts it above the Caterpillar. Like, yes, it's less than a Caterpillar, right? So that's a downside. There is a niche there, right? And then if you add the data running backing, well, okay, well, you know, that's that's fine. You know, we don't have a lot of data runners, and let's be honest, I think you would have to say it's almost an impossibility with the name of Hermes, this not being a data runner. I just think it's the chances of it not being at this point, I would, like, if you know the history and the lore and the way Star System works, I'd say, you know, would you take that bet? I wouldn't.
No, and I would add to that, if this ship can carry cargo, which it looks very much like it can, then it doesn't have to release with data running in game yet.
And that's
because they can just do cargo.
That's
and
it.
CIG has shown that they're willing to do that before. I know some people make the argument that, data running won't be ready, but if it can run cargo, it'll be good to go.
The Clipper has a fabricator in it, but they released it because it has a medical bed in it.
Yep. So it absolutely could do data running. I could easily see that being a thing. I mean, it could do data running. It could be a scanning, like a larger scanning ship for all. Who knows what other gameplay feature they'll put into it. I do think there's going to be that other feature. And then, cargo in addition. So
just for those that don't get what I'm talking about, the Mercury Star Runner and the Herald are both data runners. Mercury, I don't know which is which, but one name is Roman and one name is Greek god. So you've got Mercury and you've got Hermes. They are the same god in different Roman or Greek, right? So, and when you know they're the same god, and guess what they're the god of? One of the things they're gods of is heralds. It's all interconnected. So to think that they're not data runners, it's almost an impossibility at this point. And I'm going on just the way they name things in this game. They've probably been sitting on the name Hermes for a long time, right?
I think so too. And it's not like the most obvious name. Like you can see why a ship would be named the Spirit or something, or Star Run, like something like that. I know it's been changed to Mercury, but Hermes is a very specific name that you'd have to think they put some thought behind. Meaning, so
exactly.
It does make sense.
And especially being RSI and stuff like that, so it gives us a third one. You got to also remember, originally the Apollo was the largest, the smallest large ship, so it was almost on that medium line. And the Mercury itself was originally a medium as well, that grew to a large. So I'd hope that they come back and do a medium. I'm just a bit, I want to see a little bit of differentiation, and I think, I don't know, you tell me, but I get the feeling that this goes more towards cargo and loses even more weapons and defense than say the, so it's data secondary, where it probably, the scanner on the Mercury Star Runner, that seat. I don't think it's got that. Now, I could be wrong, because the other thing is, if you look on top of the search and rescue, it does have that radar thing. But I reckon that radar is probably not as big as a dedicated seat, like, say the Terrapin's got the dedicated seat. So my brain goes to this is a step down on the data running, but a step up on the cargo. So it's this in between, so it's more between a normal cargo runner and this, where the Mercury Star Runner is more data. And again, the Mercury Star Runner, I think, is like 114 cargo. So if you kind of do the rough math, if this does do 4 32 SU car containers, on each side, which would be 8. I need to pull out my calculator. 32 times 8 equals 256. That's almost double the cargo, or more than double the cargo, right? So when you start to look at it like that, I could see that it's valid enough. They are starting to make ships that tread on each other, right? They really are. But that's not completely flattening. That is just, do you like Coca-Cola or Pepsi? Like, right. Like it's like that, isn't it? So I can see where they're going. I can see some people are going to be annoyed, but it gives you a little difference. So I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Right. Should we go on to the next question? Let's have a look. I think that was interesting, to say the least. I do have one other thing I want to talk about too. I'll go back to it if I can, and that is this. Do you remember these from many years ago?
I do, yeah. It's I think I heard that they've been in like concept for, what is it, like 6 years or something like that?
Yeah, so they were waiting on a very particular shader to make them possible. And when I looked this up, I wish I'd I'm going to try and do it on the fly. Star Citizen holographic helmets is what I think I searched for. And then I went to images, and here it is. This is an image. I don't know if this is an official image, but if you look at the Reddit post, it's literally from 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And it does look a little different, But anyone that'll
Yeah.
remember, there was this. This was in a video, so if I open it, it actually goes to a YouTube video. But they actually released this really big image, and these guys were hanging off the side of a ship or whatever, and yeah. So people have done a few versions. There's the original image, that one there. That's the one that they released many. Where did the image go? Where'd the image go?
Disappeared on you.
Oh well. Oh well. Yep, it's gone. Oh, what? Yeah. But this. There we go. Sweet. So this was a really cool image that dropped. Man, this is even before then. This is a long time ago, and people were like, I want those helmets. And they've just never ever brought them out. Who turned off the lights? What? All right, Sangropa is now in the dark. That's what happens in WA. They can't afford electricity, so they don't get any electricity in WA. That's how it works there. Anyway, yeah. So long story short, I can see them selling like hotcakes. So again, if there's a red one, if there's a red one and a yellow one, my brain goes to patch bundles. That's as instantly where my brain went. I just went, well, hey, I could see 3 patch bundles there straight away, with the colors. With those colors, you know.
I could see some different colors coming.
So I don't know if this is official or someone just took the red one and recolored them or whatever, but I just wanted to go, like, if they've got a red and a yellow, well, why don't they have a blue and a green, for example? So, you know, or they could do another subscriber flare or whatever. But yeah, it's good to see them.
Yeah, it's nice to see it finally come out. You know, I know I've actually it was just recently someone before this came out as a subscriber thing. Someone sent me a message, someone talking about that they wanted that to finally come out.
So yeah, our goal is to make most items earnable in game. For this reason, subscriber flare may be added to the game 3 months exclusivity window. So just remember, you don't have to subscribe and just wait and earn them in game. Obviously, if you subscribe, you get them permanently assigned to you. So that's the advantage of doing so. And I believe if you subscribe for one, you can buy the other one in the store anyway. So stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. Do they kind of tickle you? The yellow one seems a bit boring to me. A bit.
It was a bit boring. I ended up picking up both of them just because I thought they were so unique and cool, and I gave one. I gave a dual pack away of these. It's just really cool. People were excited about them in chat. You know, they're not like my. I usually do not pick up these type of things. Actually, you know, like where it's kind of like a, you know, weird, like the furry bear helmets and all that stuff. I usually don't get those kind of wild helmets and stuff or wild armors when they come out. But this one was just like, I don't know. This one scratched me a little different. It was just too cool looking, especially the red one. I had to get it. So yeah, I put the money down for it. It wasn't a lot. I had store credit, so it was an easy purchase. But yeah, like it's exciting to see like some new shader tech come in on some of this stuff. I would love to see this same sort of thing happen, but not with a skull. Maybe it's something else, like a Van Duel thing, or you know, who knows?
Yeah. Well, again, it looks like. I don't know, right? But that almost looks like a normal skull. This looks like it's got more of a shade, a holographic thing on it. And it takes time for people to do those effects. But I hope that they've got one, like, so for example, if the yellow one is more realistic and then the red one's like that, I do hope the blue one has this more. I'm telling you, if it has that cubic effect on it,
it'd be really
you're gonna make a mint.
That'd be awesome.
You're gonna make an utter mint. Like everyone's gonna buy that patch bundle. Thanks for coming. You know, in the coffer you go. Because even I'll buy that one. You know, like just you're gonna make a mint. It'd be people would buy them like crazy. And like you said, maybe it's a patch bundle, maybe it's something, you know, really cool. Again, I would love to see some of this stuff come to ships as well. Like, and what I mean by that is like maybe certain areas of the ships have like somewhat animated textures, you know what I mean, or holographic textures and stuff would be kind of cool. You've got it now. So you know how they talked about the shark teeth of the Perseus? Holographic teeth that actually munch up and down.
Yeah, yeah.
Just do that,
Or even,
and you will make a mint.
yeah. Or even literally just ships that have certain parts of their certain parts of them that like change color or appearance or pattern under certain circumstances. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of interesting.
So you remember back in the day? So I just thought of this as you were kind of saying that. Do you remember? Well, actually, I could use this friend of mine. Hang on, use that. I just close. A friend of mine makes this great thing called Hanglink, and you go to the STAR-JM Fleet Viewer. He'd be a bit of a dick sometimes, this guy, but he tries to be nice. But if you pull out one of these, no, I didn't want that one. I wanted this one. Yeah. No, shit, that didn't do it. I know it's on one of them. I remember seeing it. Yeah, that'll do it right here. No.
Yeah.
Well, let me delete these. Right. So remember the old signs they had here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could do holographic signs.
You could.
On the side. So you don't need to have the panels anymore. You could just have floating signs, almost like what we've got around the stations. You know how they have those floating signs? So you could just, if you're a player, you could pay to advertise on other players or NPC ships.
Yeah.
Or if you're the player, if you're like a whole seat owner, you can take a sponsorship that pays you a bit of money.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
And that's in-game lore and accurate, and I like that.
Yeah.
And
really cool.
Yeah, it's a nice to have. It's not a necessity. It's not going to come next week, but down the road, many years from now, that'd be kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, again, it's just seeing, advancements in like shader tech and all that is always exciting, because we know there's still a lot of stuff still left on the table when it comes to texture and shader and material stuff in Star Citizen. Everything from being able to paint our ships or the colors we want to many other things. It's nice to see that that's being worked on. So
Gasline Moth just had a brilliant idea. That's how they should do ship names.
Oh, that is a solid idea.
Or at least as an option. So some manufacturers do it differently.
Yeah.
So Drake, they don't do it with names. They just do it with a light projector because it's cheaper. That's not a terrible idea either. And there's pros and cons to that, obviously.
And, Drake's could be a little bit more pixelated CRT type hologram, where Crusaders is like real crisp pixel, like fine detail. Yeah, it should be really cool.
But you run in stealth, and so it you turn it off, or the power goes out, so it turns it off. And there's pros and cons to having a light-based one or having. Oh, I like that because it's got the tech levels as well, like with the we gotta
pass that idea along.
Yeah, that's.
Although if we pass it along, CIG specifically won't do it.
Yeah. We'll call it We'll call it the Moth naming system.
Yes, I like that.
Because he thought of it. Just a tip of the hat to Moth. I like that. That's a cool idea. Maybe I wonder if they've ever thought of that. Maybe they have. Maybe
it's a clever use of that tech for sure.
Reusing the same tech somewhere else. So that's a really cool idea. Good idea, Moth. It's cool. It's cool how that fed there, right? Like the one idea you fed me. I fed Moth. Like that's how good ideas work. They feed off each other. I really like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Next question. Where were we up to, man? I haven't been ticking these off. Oh shit, we've got a load more questions while we've been talking. Donnie asks, when do you think they will reintroduce the solar flare to Pyro? Wait, did I miss? No, I did miss a whole beat. I'm gonna have to go back. Right after that one. Yeah, where do you reckon they're going to reintroduce the solar flare to Pyro, Grim?
It's a good question. If you had asked me before engineering dropped, I would have said when engineering or soon after, when engineering releases or soon after. Now that engineering has been released, I would say it really could come back at any time, because I think there's now more, damage attributes that could be affected by the solar flare, where previously it I think it was sort of almost like acted like an EMP a little bit, where it like shuts you down for a minute. I could see it now having more more options in terms of how it damages you. Like maybe it just affects a single component. Maybe it causes overheating. Maybe it's can generate a fire in your ship. Maybe it creates like a thermal spike in your ship that creates an onboard fire. So I think there's more things for the solar flare to hook into now. So I think they may revisit that soon. I'd like them to, because I did like that in the early pyro testing. I love those solar flares. I thought they should be a little bit more few and far between than they were, but I did really like them. And when they when they were coming up, it did get me a little bit tense, you know, especially if I was flying in atmosphere.
Something happened and a lot of my ticks have disappeared. I'm really confused. I've kind of lost my place order in the questions. Yeah, something's happened and someone's moved or deleted a whole bunch.
Oh, weird.
Okay, wait.
Well, I'm not streaming, so I know they're not going into my chat.
Yeah. After last time, that was pretty funny. I think we are rough up. What? That was the one we did. What is your profession in Squadron Star Citizen 1.0? All right. The engineering god had a cat that barked like a dog. This is from the engineering god. Barked like a dog. He was really moody and ruled the neighborhood like a mafia boss. That's amazing. An offer you can't refuse. That sounds amazing.
That would be good.
Well, since Jax has kind of gone away, we've actually seen other cats coming into our yard. So he was definitely keeping other cats away, which was interesting.
Yeah.
But so another interesting thing about Jax was in the backyard there was there's a sewer grate, and he basically lived at this sewer grate because the rats came out of it. And he would just he was forever catching rats, and he caught you know what an albatross is, I assume?
Yeah.
You know what a sea eagle is?
Yep.
So he caught, the biggest bird he ever caught was a sea eagle. So for those of you that don't know, it's kind of like somewhere between a seagull and an albatross. So it's bigger than he was, right? And he's a big cat, right? But he caught a sea eagle. And he caught many birds over the years. We used to go out to so we have this picnic table out the back. It's a fairly large picnic table. It sits like 12 to 15 people, and we'd move it like every 12 months to mow underneath it, and it would just be like a crunchy mulchy sound with a lawnmower of all these bones. just take them under there and they just decompose onto the picnic table, and then we'd mow and go, oh yeah, yep. And that was the we were talking about, that was the thing my mum brought up, because the bird life is all going to be able to come back now, like. But yeah, and then I said, what are you talking about? He's like, your best friend. What about all the rats that are going to come back? And she went, oh no. I said, Sonny doesn't catch half the rats and mice that he would catch. Like he'd catch them on like a weekly basis. And man, he was sadistic. Like, the cruelest thing I ever saw him do. So there's these mouse here in Australia called a field mouse, and they're kind of like a cross between a kangaroo and a mouse, where they kind of hop along, right? So imagine a mouse. You could do it with a normal mouse, though, what I'm about to say. But what he did was he bit its back legs, so it couldn't hop, right? And then it was just armored crawling along. It gets worse. This is how funny it was, right? And so the mouse is trying to get away like this, like slow as, and then just as he's about to get out of range, Jax would go smack right in front of him, and the mouse would panic, and then he'd turn and start army crawling the other way, and then he'd just be out of range and go smack, and then he'd turn, and this went on for like 15 minutes. Just like, and the thing's just panicking, going, oh shit, and it's like in slow mo trying to get up. And I'm just sitting here.
The cat wanted maximum punishment, it sounds like.
There was about 10 of us watching him, and we were just laughing our ass off. It was the most sadistic shit, but fuck, it was funny. Man. It was so, like, we're going, oh, this is so cruel, but it's so funny.
Are precious moments.
And the other cat's just watching it going like this. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that night. And I've tried to tell that story, and most people go, you are sick in the head. But it was, you had to be there, but God, it was funny.
That's cat life, though.
It was like
that's cat ownership life.
It was like like an old you call it the three one of those skits where it's just buffoonery and stuff, almost like
yeah, like Three Stooges or something.
Three Stooges was I was trying to go, or Charlie Chaplin. It was just like I couldn't make this up, but it's with cats. So it was just like, it was just funny because it was like something humans would do as a skit, but cats were doing it for real. Like, it was just like, that's why it was so funny. It was just so randomly weird. It's like, this can't be real life. This is bizarre. And it just, sorry, you can tell how funny it was to me. But anyway, right.
Take that question and give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yep,
30 seconds.
The Silver Surfer says, do you think eventually we will get cargo loading drones for ships in the future? Absolutely. So tech levels in the game is something they've talked about for a really long time. I don't know why they haven't officially kind of talked about them. And I think it's because it's going to affect sales a little bit. Because why would you want a ship that's got low tech when you can get a ship that's got high tech? But I can give you a little example. The Misfortune versus the Vulture. Why are they the same price? Yet clearly there is more functionality in the Vulture over the Misfortune. That's because the Misfortune is a higher tech level ship. Misk is a higher tech than Vulture, but it has less gameplay features than the Vulture. Where's the processing unit on the Misfortune? It doesn't have one. So there's a big spinning drum on the Vulture to chop up materials and stuff like that. So it can't break things down. Like it essentially all it can do is strip. It can't, it can at the moment. And if it keeps that functionality, awesome. But I don't think it's, because at the moment the way the Vulture actually breaks things down to a piece that the thing can eat up is it's actually got these blast charges. So you've actually got to take the blast charges out and place them on the thing. Now there's nothing that we can see inside the Misfortune that does that. Now that doesn't mean that they can't just keep them in a storage box. But again, even if you can break them down, how do you get them even smaller? Now, unless you've got to sit there and do it by hand with the tool, that's obviously going to take longer than the actual processor. So any way you look at it, there's more functionality in the Vulture than there is in the Misfortune. And that's just one example, but it does grey the line. But as more examples come in, so for example, if you go into somewhere like Pyro, it's a lot more dilapidated than Stanton, right? So if you're doing the cargo, for example, you might just do it with a hand trolley. Yeah, welcome back. So essentially the question was, do you think eventually we'll get cargo loading drones for ships in the future? And I was just explaining the different tech levels. So somewhere like Stanton or Earth or Terra, somewhere where you get an Origin or a Revel in York-based hangar is where I'd expect to see drones. Your medium level hangars like your Aeroview, and a bit lower, maybe a little bit more automated with tractor beams and stuff like that. And then somewhere like your Safe Land hangar would be more hand trolley based. I think that's where it's going. I could be a little bit off the mark there, but that's kind of where I see it going.
There's another way they could handle this. I guess it would depend on CIG and their confidence in their drone tech, which I think we'll see the first of with base building, obviously. But another way to do this, obviously, is to just quote unquote gamify it, where if you do land in a hangar, or if you're going to land in an area where cargo is to be off or automatically offloaded, instead of drones, you would land, your ship goes down, it is then being unloaded according to the ASOP terminal, but it's not sitting there, so you don't actually have to visualize any drones and stuff like that. It's ultimately going to come down to how confident and how well refined is CIG's drone tech. Like, does it have the ability to, for example, do pathing inside ships' internal cargo areas, pull that stuff out, especially for ships like the Hercules or the Starlancer or something like that? Because if you think about it, a drone has to operate pretty wildly differently if it's grabbing cargo off of a hull B or a Hercules, right? It's just different things. Now, we've seen a ton of work, according to the PU monthly reports, going into AI and path tracing and stuff like that. And we've seen tons of stuff from CIG on that. Maybe that's how drones will work. I don't know. But there is an easy way for them to do it by just we store the ship and it's unloaded that way.
Yeah. But again, you can
Less
see
interesting, but
you can see how the gameplay comes out too. If you're visiting Earth, it's going to be a really quick delivery, so you probably get paid a little less. If you're delivering some remote outpost and you're going to do it all yourself by hand with just like hand trolleys, well, they'll pay you more. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know, so I can see it just decides how are they going to do it, and it could be a bit of both, right? You go to Pyro, do they only offer you safe land hangars? Or is there a possible future where you can go to Pyro and they do have Revel in York hangars, but is it all going to be dilapidated, but there's no drones because they've got no power?
Right,
so,
maybe
so,
there's...
So can it literally be custom? So can you go to Earth and get a safe land if you want lower rentage fees for your hangars? Because you have to rent these hangars, right? And they did say they'll provide you with ones, but then do you really think they're going to give you a Revel in York hangar if they're just providing you with one? You see where I'm going here, right? So what you get what you pay for. So if you pay for a better one, are you going to get more features like faster unloading and stuff like that? So you can see the gameplay and player choices there pretty quickly. And cargo, all of a sudden, you can see the gameplay that comes out of it. It's not just delivering boxes anymore. You've got multiple different size boxes. You've got all these different types of cargo you're loading. And unloading and loading them in different ways, so you can see the complexity is coming very quickly, and it's multi-layered, and it's not just one box backwards and forwards like it was back in the early days. So, it's gonna be interesting to look back at cargo, you know, when it's all said and done, and go, "Well, look at that journey. That was that interesting."
Seeing how much it's changed over time, and you know where, and you know, again, I think CIG is still sort of figuring out, you know, where they want friction to be in some of these gameplay loops and stuff. So,
absolutely, right. Spicy SCO7 says, question: has CIG said CCUs and melting items will end after 1.8? No, they have not. But don't worry, they will let us know when upgrades and CCUs and all that are ending. They have stated that as just set them on until they tell you got rid of them. And as I said, I firmly believe that when they are ending, I think it'll end with kind of big sale where they open everything up, because it's just that one, they'll make a bunch of money because they're never going to do it again, and two, to leave all that credit and that just sitting there, there's got to be some kind of legal thing there where hey, I've got $500 that you just took it and I didn't get to do anything with it. Do you automatically turn people's credits into in-game currency? Do you what happens if you have a CCU? Do they just melt it for you and turn it into credit and it just becomes a part? Like there's all these questions there. So I think they have to kind of let you move it around a little bit. And there's just no reason to lock it down anymore if you're not going to be selling them anymore. So I think I get the feeling they'll open it all up at the last minute, and you know, maybe a week or two where you can just do whatever you want, because there's no reason to be that way anymore. Obviously there'll still be some chips you can't get, so you know, there might, you know, something that was limited like a Pioneer maybe you can't get, but at least they'll allow you to move it around and finalize your fleets. I think that's that makes sense to me.
I could see that.
Google says, question: what weapons will the pilot of the Galaxy will control will be similar to the Paladin? Let's have a look at the guns on the Galaxy. Can I use this to do that, or is it not going to tell me?
Yeah, you should be able to. Now, you're using the old one, but you can use that.
I'm using the air. Well, you've got the fancy new one. I don't have access to that. That Galaxy is not.
You do. That's an open link, but we just haven't. It's a beta link though.
Oh, you didn't send it to me. Okay.
I'll send it to you. All
right. So there's not a lot of guns on this thing. That I can see visually, but if I is there a way to tell me what? I know you added this functionality. Where do I click to tell me stats? Is this it? Length?
It's those stats down there, but there's not. You can toggle those on, but there's not like armament stats, because the guns change so frequently from concept to live release that we didn't we didn't do that.
Because I'm pretty sure there are pilot guns, but I could have remembered this wrong, so I'm just going to look it up. I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I have not looked at the Galaxy in a while.
Yeah, it didn't have a lot listed. I thought it was just those two sides, but I have no doubt it's going to gain some weaponry.
Yeah, missile rack. Yeah, I'd be really surprised if they don't add some form of pilot gun. But again,
I think it's going to gain a nose turret.
It shows you what the ship is trying to do. It's more utility based. It is a more utility based ship. Even the Caterpillar has pilot guns, as an example. Doesn't have very many, but it's got them. So again, this is relying on that teamwork element. And I said, when you look at this ship having that one module, the cost to this ship is having the entire ship around it, and you have to crew the ship to move the module. So you're going to have the pilot, the 2 turret gunners, an engineer for the ship type of thing. So at least 4 crew for that before you even start adding crew into the module, right? And if it's just a cargo module, you know, one guy, you know, someone can go off the turret and use the tractor beam. Whoop-de-doo, right? But as soon as you put a medical module on there, well, that changes everything, because you're going to need to have multiple medical. Do you take your turret gunner and make them a medical person?
Yeah, I mean, one thing we know, we're not expecting any PDCs if we're going by CIG's logic of it's not a military ship. And it's not a ship that was previously promised to have them, so probably won't have PDCs. I do expect it to gain a nose turret, only because if you look at a lot of the RSI ships that didn't previously have nose turrets, they've gained them. And that were not military ships. I'll go straight to the Apollo as being a great example of one that got a pretty substantial nose turret. So I could see that happening.
So again, you know, we kind of saw that even a little bit with the Perseus, where the captain can control that top turret. It's just beneficial to have at least one little gun they can use to almost utility at that point. So yeah, I'd be really surprised if we don't get some kind of little, even if it's just what, you know, when I was looking at that, I believe it was size 5s. I'll go back and double check. Was it size 5? So it's a size 5 remote turret with two size 5s, or it actually says 2 to be determined here, but I assume that they're going to be size 5s based on the changes they made to turrets and stuff. So I don't know if they'll give it another 2, even if they gave it, like, say 2 size 3s or 2 size 4s, right? That's all I'm talking. It doesn't have to be the biggest turret in the world, but just some kind of functional thing so the pilot can use it. But it also shows you what the ship is. It's not really it's if you've got the Caterpillar and you've got the Endeavor, the Galaxy falls pretty much right in the middle, because it's got functionality of both, right? As in, it's got modules that shares roughly in size in comparison with the Caterpillar, because the ships are large, right? But the Endeavor being the capital and all those different ones, but it doesn't have a lot of defenses. Player choice. And again,
player choice.
And if you look at all the modules, they're fairly utilitarian. You know, you've got the cargo, the medical, the manufacturing, whatever that turns out to be, and the refining. That's all. They're all on the utility side. You know, I think the only one that kind of
it's not really for all intents and purposes, it's not a ship that you're supposed to be taking into combat.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's what I'm referring to. You got hit the nail on the head there. So again, this is a backline ship. It's not meant to be doing stuff like that, right? It's you know, if this was going, let's just say, for example, it's going out with a refining module on it, right? And that's a gameplay we know right now. So you're going out with your salvagers, going out with your miners. All of those ships are going to need escorting. You know, this is just another one you've got to add to the list that needs to be protected. So it's on par. Go back to the original question. What weapons will the pilot on the Galaxy control, or will it be similar to Paladin? There are ships where the pilots just don't have weapons either. So it's a tough one. I really can't make that call.
I truly do think, though, that the weapons the pilot ends up controlling will more than likely be weapons that aren't currently on the model. I think CIG is going to add either a turret on the back right behind the bridge, like a sort of little top turret there, or it'll add some nose turrets. That's what I'm expecting.
But by the same count, if they don't, I won't be surprised either. I can go both ways on that. You see, like
you'll see.
You know, it'll be whatever they determine the gameplay is beneficial for, like the Perseus.
Yeah.
They basically wanted bigger turrets, so it got bigger turrets. They're kind of a bit ridiculous now in size, but that's what they wanted. So it'll be, if it's determined that this ship is not defensive enough, you know, like they'll hopefully. Remember when they said in the Perseus, they said, "Oh, we actually fully crewed it this time and took it out and actually run proper tests." And I was like, "Wait, you haven't been doing that all this time?" And I was like, "What?"
I know.
Done with everything else.
I thought the exact same thing. I mean, you know, to me too, it reminds me of other ships that are not military ships. Well, and the one I'm thinking about now is a military ship, but it's not a combat ship. That had they made them now, probably would have received a little bit more substantial armament. The main one I'm thinking about is the Carrack. I do think if the Carrack was made now, it would probably have a different gun, like weapon layout situation going on.
There's always gold passes. Always gold passes. I don't think it does. I'm gonna be honest with you, because that ship, you kind of think about how it operates. It's not meant to be around anything else.
Not meant to be. Yeah,
that's
meant to be.
Well, even if you look at the other Explorer that's in a similar kind of vein, is the Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
But the Odyssey is going to more likely run into other ships because it's stuck on just the planet. Right, and it's going to have other people probably resupplying it a lot more frequently, right? And that's why it's got the hangar, so ships can kind of come there and resupply it. So it's more likely to be found. So therefore, it's got more defenses.
Yeah,
the Carrack is just going to be out on its own. What do we get there?
Got a super chat.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you don't have to give me money for my cat, but thank you, Red Samurai. Sorry for your loss. I love cats. We have two, and almost every morning at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. they start a fight. On our bed, no less. I was like, they're just in the room on the floor. Little shits ready again. On our bed, but still love them to death. Also, I get the feeling like one was asleep, the other comes up to lay next to it for warmth. It's like, you wake me up, bitch. Also, thanks for your stream today. Yeah, no problem. No, look, I love all animals. And again, like we've had other people talking about cats, but look, if you've got a funny dog story or whatever, I did say this at the start of the show, and I guess we haven't talked about it since. My cat passed away. I am one of those people where I went to a funeral for my two of my grandparents on my mum's side. It was really sad and depressing. Then I went to one for my grandmother, and they had this massive party. That's the way I want to go out, and that's the way my cat would have wanted to go out. So instead of all being sad and depressed, I wanted to talk about if you have a pet anecdote or something your pet does, just like what Red Samurai's done here. Any animal, doesn't have to be a cat, it can be a goldfish or anything like that, just anything quirky they did. And the example I gave was, I've given a couple examples, but Jax liked to eat twisties and paddle pops. He just ate all this human food like cats wouldn't do. And stuff like that. He also had this thing for coming to me while I was on the toilet, and he'd want me to pick him up and pat him while I was on the toilet. It was really weird. He just like lay on my arm. He was upset. Like every time on the toilet, he'd be at the door scratching, going, "Let me in! I want a pat." It was bizarre, but it was kind of soothing because it was just easier to go while you're patting him. Like you just kind of zone out and relax. And you know, it probably sounds disgusting to some people, but it worked for both of us. So hey. But anyway, yeah, so long story short, if you've got any anecdotes or anything like that, this is more of a celebration. It's not depressing. Like, he had a great life. He was absolutely spoiled. I also said, because I'm diabetic, I can only drink water or tea. I don't drink coffee. So basically, I buy this artisan milk. I kind of spoil myself. And because he's my cat, he ended up drinking that. And he was spoiled as well. You know, like, the thing's like $7 a bottle. And he would... he'd drink it like no tomorrow. If I gave him the whole bottle, he'd drink the whole thing. So yeah, he was very, very spoiled. But yeah. Exo Slasher says the cat wants to protect you while you're most vulnerable. Probably true. Well, his sister started doing it too, so I'm still going to be able to keep doing it. So don't worry about that. She likes a good pat on the loo as well. Right, and I think I've lost Grim now. He's just he's gone a very bright shade of red. But anyway, I can't hear you. If you're laughing, I can't hear you. But have you muted yourself? You're muted.
I accidentally hit it. I think I hit a keybind. There we go. I'm open now.
Yep. Rouge Slobend, must be some kind of German name. Says, now engineering is here. Did your opinion change on using big ships solo? I'm pleasantly surprised, for example, by how good the Perseus is as a daily driver. If they changed and say went against soloing, won't that come back around again when we get the AI crew members? So I really think you have to, you kind of have to take them on what they've told us they're planning to do. This is why me and Algrid always look for where the game is going, not where the game is now. Right? Because otherwise you're following all these changes all the way along and it just becomes complicated. Or you can just look at that end goal and that's the only thing you got to care about because that's the intent. So that's what we decided ages ago, rather than, you know, we'll just follow the changes as they go, but we know where it's going. So you've got the now and where they're going, and there's only two things you got to track. But we just remember everything for where it's going because that's just the easier thing to do. And I think
and there's a lot of area there to cover when you say solo a ship. You know, it could be do the intended gameplay of that ship. It could just be flying the ship. I think a lot of ships, regardless of their size, should be flyable solo. But for example, the Reclaimer is a great example. Sure, you could take off, fly it somewhere, land, no problem as a solo player. But to do its actual role and do it anywhere near efficiency, you need a crew. You know what I mean? It's kind of the balance you're talking about there. So solo can mean a lot of different things.
That's what we've always talked about, right? Like, so, you know, our thing for when buying ships was like, if you have bought a bunch of little ships, consolidate them and get one big one, because it's going to be harder to earn that big ship, but you can struggle through and do one mission. It might take you 5 times longer, but you'll get a lot more money in a big ship than you will in a little one. So you take that money and just earn down, but going the other way is going to be next to impossible. And then when you add AI in, can you hire 1 extra AI crew member or 2? You don't have to get a full crew, but you see where I'm going, right? So once you start to add all these things back in, we always get these outliers where people go, oh, well, it's going to be impossible to run a Reclaimer on your own. Well, no, it's not going to be impossible to run a Reclaimer on your own because I can get fully AI crew or I could get a partial AI crew. You see where I'm going, right? Like there's always these people trying to find these gotchas. Like, oh, gotcha, you're wrong, right? And that's fine. I don't mind being challenged, right? I got no problem with that at all. But when you start to work through all the possibilities about all the things they've ever talked about, it becomes very clear where they're trying to go and what they're trying to shoot for, right? And at the end, I do have the end, you should be able to go out as a solo in a ship of your choosing and basically take an AI crew, and the AI crew probably won't be completely as functional as a human crew, because if you do that, then nobody will go out with a human crew. But not every day of the week are you going to be able to go, right, I've got my javelin, let's go find 82 other people, right? Now, realistically, you could probably find 10, right? And then the AI can do the rest of the other stuff, right? So you can see where I'm going. Everyone's going to want to have the option to at least pick up 1 AI crew member. Right? It's a boon to anyone, right? But like fully going out in a javelin and it's just you should be able to do that, but it's going to have a problem because you're going to have to tell the AI what to do, you know, or whatever. So I can see how people are going, oh, you can't have it both ways. But if you get it to a state, you should be able to get into a fairly even place, right? And that is I think what people are essentially asking, or what they're scared of, is can CIG pull that off? I'll put this back to you. With everything you've seen them do, if anyone can do it, it would be CIG.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the amount of work and the monthly reports and stuff that are going into things like this, you know. So I again, especially just NPC work in general, AI work. Yes, I know there was a big sort of, gut punch when Tyler said that NPC crews are probably a post 1.0 thing, but that doesn't mean they're not happening. It just means there's a lot of work that will probably go into them, and that was always expected by me. I mean, when you look at the interior ships, how complicated some of those interiors are, how complicated some of the gameplay loops for some of these ships are, how different roles within the ship have to work at different times. Again, I'll use the reclaimer as another example. If you're salvaging, there's an order at which those roles operate, right? So first the NPC crew member fracturing things has to fracture things, right? Then or hull scrape or whatever. Then you fracture, then you disintegrate. So all those NPCs have to work together in concert in the right order. So things can get really wildly complicated.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that NPC crews are a post 1.0 thing, but again, I think I think the path will be there in the future. If you want to fly a big ship solo, you can absolutely do that, but you just may be flying it. You may not be doing its actual intended role. I think you're going to be able to skeleton crew ships where you have a way below the recommended crews for them, and then you're going to be able to overcrew ships. I think the only limiting factor there, of course, will be the life support systems and how many crew members those can support. So,
yeah, I disagree.
Yeah.
Moto Rob says, does your fuzzy friend know any cool tricks? I kind of talked about them a little bit already. Anytime I play with him, like I had like a cat toy or something like that, he was always up for it. And I think that was probably my biggest regret, is I wish I'd done it more. Just how you always have a regret after he's gone. Like I kind of like I was even saying to the vet, can I take him home and just hang out with him for the day? And they're like, I don't even think he'll last 2 days, and I think he's so weak he's not going to want to do anything. I'm like, oh shit. and what signified that that to me was as I said to you before the show, he was a very quiet cat up until he discovered milk. When he meowed, he wasn't even verbal. He'd just go, kind of like open his mouth but not say anything. And then so at the end, he was basically walking around meowing his ass off, and that's when I knew. I was like, he is in serious pain. He is.
Yeah.
This is serious. Don't laugh at my cat being in pain. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, just meowing his ass off. The cat I had would do the same thing. Just meow and meow to get my attention.
His sister's the complete opposite. She won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
He would just sit there. He knew the food was coming. He was all good. He was chill, right? But him on the other hand was just completely different. So just seeing him there, and he was like, meow, meow. I was like, shit. He was looking me in the eye, going, I'm in pain. Make it stop. And I was just like, okay, yeah, all right, buddy. Because I just knew it was time for him to go. He made it very evident to me that he wanted help. He in how weak he was when I found him was literally right outside my door. He'd literally got to my door and just collapsed. It was when I saw him, I was like, oh, and my brother's the one that knocked on my door and said, the Jax is outside your door. There's something really wrong. It just kind of went from there. And best cat I've ever had. I had a big cry about it. I was really upset. But every time I get in this loop, right, where I'll go, oh shit, oh, Jax is gone. And then I think about that day, and then I think about him meowing and he was in pain and that he had to go. And so it just does this full loop. And I just kind of come back to where I was at, and I realize he had to go, and I don't get upset because I know he had to go.
Yeah. And they know to some degree, I think, when it's that time. I've had numerous animals in the past, cats, dogs, and stuff.
Yeah.
And the ones that have got to that point, they know before you do.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? I now look back at the last kind of 3 months, right? And there was 3 times in those last 3 months, probably a month apart, where he was just randomly howling at the stairs, and he'd never done that before. And whenever he meow or hears something like that, it was usually his sister that would meow, and I'd have to go rescue her because she got stuck in a door or something, right? But he did it, and he'd just be sitting on the stairs howling, and I'm like, right, boy, what's up? What, you want some milk? You want some food? Like you know, that was him telling me that he had cancer and it hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't get the message. I'm the bloody stupid human that didn't get it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. He done that twice now. And then he did it again, and there was this, and then
start putting those pieces together. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, I'm such an idiot. He didn't tell me, or he told me and I didn't get the message. So, yeah. So in hindsight, he was telling me, but I didn't know what he was. Well, again, that's my fault. Like I don't understand what he was trying to communicate.
Well,
yeah.
You know, it's hard to, and it happens with honestly with humans sometimes too. You just don't sometimes know what those signs are until you look at them in hindsight and you start to piece things together. You know, it's not always there. But you know, again, you have to think about, you know, if you think about your cat or your loved one or anything like that, or any animal or pet that you've had, if you want to honor them, the best thing to do is to celebrate their life, and not that last little bit at the end there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it was for my closure. I needed to see that.
Yeah.
And the other part I keep telling myself is, how many people get to live the full life with their cats? Like I've had other cats. Yeah. So I had another cat called Max. Max, you can see there's a pattern. And Max got run over. I didn't find out for like almost a week later. They found him on a neighbor's lawn, and the neighbor came around to all the houses. It was like 2 streets over. It took them that long for us to find us. And you know, so I didn't get to say goodbye. He was just gone. Yeah. Right. So it could have been, it could have been far worse. I'd rather be there at the end and be see him drift off to sleep and go peacefully with no pain. He was in pain, and I was, helping me end the pain essentially. So and he got so thin. He didn't eat for 4 days. You know, he was like, I could almost do. He's kind of like back legs, like his waist. I could almost put my fingers like that. Like it was that tiny. Like I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize how. Yeah, he just hadn't eaten. He had all this vomit around his mouth where he'd been throwing up. You know, he had liquid on his lungs. They said he had a heart murmur, so he'd obviously been shutting down or palpitations or whatever like that. So he'd been through the ringer over those 4 days, and he knew it was the end, and that's where he came to find me. He wanted help. He was just in too much pain. I just wish he'd come to me 4 days earlier. Then we could have, I could have known he was going, and I could have done some final things.
That's the thing. He came to you when he knew to come to you. You know what I mean? That was how he did it.
And any time the shit hit the fan, that's who he'd come to. He was so another thing that happened was we had an African guy that lived with us, not the smartest bloke, right? And it's when a cat's under a car, you just turn the engine on and the cat gets out. Oh, loud noise, leave, right? He would get a broom and smack the cat out. Right. So what ended up happening, you think of the shape of a broom, Jack started to associate the broom that had been attacked. One day I was carrying the broom and he was petrified. And that's when I started connecting the dots, because I kept finding the broom outside on the lawn next to this guy's car. And I'm like, oh, that's what's happened. And he because of the shape of the broom, he started associating it with a vacuum cleaner. So he was never scared of the vacuum cleaner, but it was all association based. So it's basically he associated the shape of the vacuum cleaner with the sound of the vacuum cleaner. So when he heard the sound of the vacuum cleaner, he was petrified of it. So every time the cleaner would come around or my mum would come around and clean, he'd just run in my room. And often, if I was not home, they said this monitor that's right here in front of me, he would be behind the monitor. That was his safe place. He would try to get behind or up really high up on this desk. And he'd just hide there until the cleaner was gone. My room and me was his safe place. So yeah, but anyway, that's how I knew he was my cat, because he, shit had come to me, and his sister's no different. He does the same thing. Anyway, enough me and my cat. Right, next question. So that was that one. We're up to Ruji Slobberin. I cannot pronounce that. It must be. Oh, there was a question that someone asked, but they didn't put question on it, and it was from just execute. As a Ukrainian, I'm curious. Do you think your Tasmanian accent is very different from mainland Australian one? Yes, it is. So my accent is more closer to English than Australian, or it's the middle ground, because we've been kind of fairly separated over that 200-year period.
Right.
And if you go up to Queensland, you'll get your Steve Irwin. So more further north, like further up than Brisbane, and you get your crikey, you know, and all the, oh my God, that's a big one. The one that, the traditional one that you guys hear about. Oh, that's not a knife. This is a knife. That's a Queensland accent, right? Right. But down here,
Dundee
all the Crocodile Dundee references, the Steve Irwin, all that type of stuff. That is the north, kind of more remote area. You go into the city slickers and that's your, you know, so Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, that's your more traditional Australian. And as things are going, just like the rest of the world, there is a lot of immigrants coming to Australia now. It's going to change again. Because, well, put it this way, there's footage from Melbourne of this year where this guy spent 15 minutes going through Federation Square, which is the middle of Melbourne, and there were 2 white guys in the entire video. Like what's happening globally is, I don't know why they're doing it, but there's something amiss because it's in every country. I don't know why, but yeah. So things are going to change.
I don't how it
don't know whether
the language, accent stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can say it's for the better or for the worse. That's not what I'm here to argue about. I'm just saying it's going to change. And it's really interesting seeing. One of the things that was really surprising to me was when I was in England, right? There was an Asian lady that got into the lift at the hotel, and she had the most British accent I've ever heard. I was just startled because normally when I see an Asian person, they've even got a Chinese or Australian or Southeast Asian or Malaysian or I'd never heard a British accent come out of an Asian person. Now that it just threw me. And there's another person, Kelly Drex, that works at CIG. She grew up in Germany, so she's got that. She's got that little bit of the German, that little sound they have. She's got that on the end of her accent. So it just shows the world is getting smaller. Now, I'm not saying whether that's good or bad. It's going to change. But I'd like to hope to think that it goes both ways, where we affect them and they affect us, and it kind of, so could we see in a couple of years, like Sudanese or Asian or African or wherever they're from, and they're speaking Australian accents? So it really is to see how it's going to pan out.
Very possible.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. It just makes the world feel smaller, but in a kind of cool way. And that's what that was the thing when I went to Britain that really threw me. Like, there's so many accents there. Like, it was so different to anywhere I've been. Like, you talk about multicultural, right? But that's nothing like I've seen in the UK. Like, you go to the USA, you guys are all not exactly the same. It's a bit like Australia, right? Well, up north is different from south. But generalistically, if you're in the same kind of horizontal line, you're kind of the same, right?
Kind of the same, yeah.
Yeah, but in Britain, it was just like, as an Australian, you just fed on in because, like, oh, there's Australians everywhere. Like, I wasn't special at all in England, like, because there was just so many accents. Like, accents, it's the first place I think I've ever been to where accents went out the window. Like, it just did not matter. And I'd assume Europe is somewhat the similar because, like go back a couple of 100 years, people were fairly isolated. But, like, put it in perspective for people, it took me 7 hours to fly from UK to Dubai, so that's crossing the whole of Europe. But then to go from Dubai to Australia was 14 hours.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
So I just, like, what was the known world like essentially 300 years ago in 7 hours, and then Australia is so remote it's another 14. Like, and that's
crazy.
Yeah, it showed, like, in 30 hours that I can literally go from one side of the world to the other. That back in 200 years ago when Australia was founded, it took them 18 months to get here by ship. Isn't that insane? So I've essentially, it's not a day, but it's a little bit more than a day. But essentially, what was 18 months is now like a day and a half. That's mind blowing. Yeah, we live in a completely different world to what our ancestors lived in. You can, like 20 years ago, Grim, you and I wouldn't be doing the show. The internet just didn't have that. It wasn't a thing. You know, like we wouldn't have become friends. I would like think about all the friends that you've made. You wouldn't know any of them. You know, so we're living in a weird timeline.
Yeah, I have several close friends I've never met. I've only met them online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's something I look forward to. Eventually, I'd like to come over to America. You know, visit you, visit Space, visit Paul. You know, SA, a bunch of Lemming, and a bunch of the guys in the States. But by the same token, I may for the first time meet you guys at a CitizenCon in the UK. Who knows? Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. But I am very much looking forward to see how short you are. You know.
Yeah.
Board gamer.
Get ready.
Very short.
I think I was as tall as Paul.
Yeah, Paul is tall.
I think me and Paul are the same height.
Paul and I are the same height, so you'll be the same height as me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
People told me, well, that you're taller than me. I'm 6, and Paul's 6.
Well, I'm 6'1" if I'm standing up straight uncomfortably. If I sulk and hunt like I normally do, I'm probably 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm 100 and I was 185. I think I've shrunk a bit, and I'm like 183. So, and I think it's 182 for 6. So,
okay, we'll be about the same then.
Yeah. But one thing that everyone thinks I'm short because of how I sit on camera, and the funny thing is, then you go see Argrid, and Argrid's actually there's a photo of me in my hand around him like this. So like he's short. You know, and Board Gamer is like, whoa, like he's like I had to lean down to shake his hands over there.
Yeah.
He's not like 4 foot nothing, but like I was surprised. I was like, oh, I thought you'd be like 5 foot or something, you know, like, and a little bit shorter than that. But yeah, it just, again, it throws you off. And morphologist, holy shit. He's like a whole head taller than me. Actually, I could probably show
That's wild. I've heard he's tall.
Yeah, wait, let me have a look and see if I can find a photo of Morph. Do I have a photo that Morph sent me? Yes, here we go. I don't think these boys would mind if I show this one. So this is from the Only Constants when we were there on the ship shows tour. That's Tom as well. So Tom Beckenhauser. He's a streamer as well. Myself, you see a bit of my gut there, hidden by the microphone, trying to hide it by the mic. And Morph. Like, if I'm 6 foot, what's Morph? Holy shit!
Yeah.
Right? Wow, I was surprised. I was like, holy shit, you're a tall boy. Yeah. But you can kind of see it now in hindsight and go, oh yeah, it explains the elongated head, and it explains why he's tall, like because he's a tall boy. Yeah, so
he's tall.
Yeah, it was really cool, you know, meeting everyone in the flesh and stuff. So it was cool. I had a great time.
I hope to
with
do
those
it
two.
soon. I mean, Vegas was awesome, so I'm hoping to go to a CitizenCon before too long.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I again, if I went again now, I would do it completely differently. I learned a lot. Like, I had to go to one to learn how to do them, and I would just go completely behind the scenes. I would, because the panels you can watch the next day, right? Like, realistically, you'll get all the highlights. People will tell you about them. Who cares? Go back and watch them all. That's fine. I'll just watch them later, right? It gives me more content to do once I get home anyway, right? But the behind the scenes shit is completely invaluable, and you cannot get that anywhere else. And people that had been to other ones, they were doing that. So like the Soul Citizens, they were out the back, spent the whole time talking to the developers, whole time. And I was like, that's ingenious, you know. And you could just go back with a camera if you wanted to, and just talk to them. You could just stream it all and talk to them if they were comfortable doing it. You could do it, or and again, CIG are showing all the stuff on the stage, showing the shit out the back. That's the shit you don't get to see. And I got told that by a lot of people, that when I went out the back and streamed it all, no one had ever seen that before. And I also, by me walking around the entire area, they were able to, you know, 3D visualize the whole place rather than just getting these snippets. And they said to me,
it gives you a better sense of what it's like to be there.
Well, when CIG would come to a place, they would know where it was because they'd seen my stream. So they were like, oh, so they're in this area where Execute walked through, blah, blah, blah. So I walked around the whole area, and they were able to kind of visualize the, you know, that main hall, the back area where the thing was, the back area behind that had all the stalls, and then the side area that had all the shops. So once I'd walked them around, they knew where they was. It wasn't as disjointed. kind of makes me think it would be really cool if CIG did that while they were introing the stream.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, you know, because
that'd be cool.
I think the hardest thing I always have disliked about CitizenCon is just how you don't feel a part of it. You feel like you're at this porthole, and you almost like a horse with blinders on. You just, what am I saying? Where am I? So, and I wanted to kind of remove a bit of that anyway. Yeah. Something akin to that, Hudson Hawk. Yeah. So he's saying Morph is 190, X is 180, and Tom's around 107. Some similar to that. Yeah. But yeah. But meeting the people was the coolest part. Long story short. So yeah. I do have one little thing I want to show about Jax, and it's just this. I'm only going to show it for a couple of seconds. But this is actually the last time Jax appeared on camera, and it was actually on a podcast with Space Tomato. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to play it and mute it here. But you can actually see that little scar on his nose there. It looks like a little scab. That's what turned out to be the cancer. He had a very pink nose, and when the vet talked to me, they basically said, "Oh yeah, he's had a cut or something. So he had a fight or something with another cat, and it's just turned into cancer." And it took 2.5 to 3 years to kill him. And much like, so you can picture me patting him here. It was the same thing in the toilet, by the way. He'd just walk up and he'd want pats under the chin. That was just his thing. Yeah, this is literally the Sunday. He died the next, I think we did this on the Monday or Sunday. And then by the next Monday, Sunday, he was gone.
Wow.
So this was like 5 to 6 days beforehand. And then then he was gone.
But it's nice that you have these like videos that like kind of chronicle.
How many people are going to have those? No one, like, so again, I got lucky. So yeah, and we'll always have that little emoji and stuff like that. So again, I'm not worried about my cat. as I said, I wanted this to be an episode for animals in general, but so that's, no one seemed to have, there was a couple of the shared, but not many people that shared. That's okay. So again, it was just a little more to let people know that he wasn't going to be on screen anymore, because I didn't want that question of, where's the cat? I haven't seen him in 6 months. What'd you do to him?
Right.
And then I'd awkwardly go, oh well, he's not here anymore, or he's dead, or or I start crying, oh, he's dead. Like that would be a bit weird. So yeah, I thought it was just easier to answer those. So yeah, there's a really good shot of the thing on his nose there. So
I see that now.
And when I actually looked at it, it was actually eating his nose. I thought, oh, maybe his nose been chopped off, but no, it was over time. It was actually eating his nose. And the vet said, the vet said, even if we had treated it earlier, they're almost impossible to get rid of, because the stuff and the only way to get it off is to chop it off. So they literally would have had to chop off a part of his face to try and get it all. So in a lot of cases that they say it's better just to let them go, because they tend to get it when they're older anyway. And apparently it's like really common with cats with pink noses. So he was 14, by the way, Truther. He was 14. So not the oldest cat. Like, so a lot of, he was an indoor and outdoor cat as well, as his sister is. But a lot of indoor cats can live to be over 20. So I was expecting to get, in other countries like the Philippines and stuff, they're lucky to even make it to 10 years of age. So it was considered a senior cat. I think in cat years he was like 76, 80, somewhere in there. So he was fairly, he was on. But again,
there had probably and if it hadn't been for the cancer, probably a few more years. For sure.
Well, I'll probably judge that when Sadie goes, right? Because Sadie's a year younger, so she's 13 currently. And she's quite beast compared to he was, right? So he was very, very action orientated, very slim. He was a long cat too. Like when we buried him, we were going to bury him in like a box, and we got a shoebox. I was like, you're not going to fit in that. Then we got an Ugg boot box, which is like twice the size of a shoebox. Wouldn't fit in that. So in the end, we just had to bury him in a towel, because he's literally, I know this doesn't give a reference, but so this is a fly spray can, right? So you know what and that's a tall, larger than normal, like a really big can that you get for fly spray. And he would have been easily twice as long as that, right?
Oh,
He's
wow.
easily twice that length. He could stand here and his feet would reach over the top monitor.
Wow.
He always sat with a hunch. Like we used to say, oh, look at the little penguin, because he'd sit there with this hunch because his body was longer than it was too long for his legs. It was really strange.
Yeah.
And his sister would sit straight up and be shorter than him, and he'd be hunched over and taller than her. It was really strange. So yeah, and we ended up digging this quite a long hole and just putting him in a towel. So he's buried in a towel because we just couldn't find a box that was big enough.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to. My brother goes, "Oh, he'll fit." And I go, "Yeah. Do you want to be scrunched up for all eternity?" And then he just laughed and I just went, "Okay, yeah, let's do the towel." So we'd already had him in a box and we moved him out.
You probably took I think you took the right approach.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope Space didn't mind me showing that. I don't think he sent me some footage of him as well. But
yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I feel like I've talked about my cat too much. I didn't want this to be all about my cat. I wanted it to be about a celebration of animals. As I said, I wanted it to be.
It's the slow time in Star Citizen anyway. So we need some non-Star Citizen stuff to talk about. This is better than anything else. So no, it's all good.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I didn't want to be like bring the mood down. That was my main thing. So yeah, I don't like being a party pooper. Right. Next question is My Bearded Dragon. Oh, this is a lizard one. Interesting. My Bearded Dragon. This is by Raj Solo Belen says, used to try and jump through the glass door of his terrarium, making a loud bang sound, scaring the shitless very early in the morning when I was sleeping. That's really funny. He's like, I'm gonna get out of here. I just keep trying to escape. The escapee. Did you call him Houdini? I would have called him Houdini. Or the bad Houdini or something, you know, like a spin-off of Houdini. So like, I don't know, Badini, something like that, implying there's bad Houdini.
Yeah.
All right, take that one off. Project Known question: do you think the Drake will ever have high-end passenger gameplay? I was thinking the average Drake pilot would space everyone if someone started whining about the wrong brand of champagne.
Well, I guess it depends. It depends a lot if you're talking about NPC passengers or player passengers. If it's player passengers, they may enjoy that ride on the Kraken. If it's NPC passengers, they're probably basing it off some luxury metrics that are kind of behind the scenes and thus wouldn't apply to Drake.
Real quick before I answer that, Riddick, thank you for the raid with 17. Good to see you, man. Thank you for the raid.
Thanks, Riddick.
A little emoji too there of Riddick salute.
Nice.
I would hope eventually you'd have different tech levels, almost like different classes. So, and you have a higher grade of economy. So I think technically you can. So you kind of see a little bit in the planes. So if you go international, right, you can literally get first class and they have like a bed-like experience, like a little capsule that you can lie down in.
Yeah.
And then you go to business class and it's just wider seats, but they're more comfortable. Oh, and they recline a bit more. And then you go to economy and they recline, but only like 5 degrees. And there's 3 people abreast, not 2. You know, so technically I think it's possible. But also by the same token, couldn't you also just put that in the same ship?
Yeah.
So I think it falls under what CIG want to do. And I think you could see it in different sizes as well. So where you've got, say, like something like the Genesis Starliner that's probably more volume based, like bigger and larger, wouldn't I see that more in something that's smaller? So, could I see, and I'm just going to give an example, you know, the Cutlass, how we saw the Cutlass Steel? That is a lower end transport. But can we see another version of that that just strips all the armor off? It becomes a civilian variant. And because it's lower tech and they don't serve food or anything like that, just like in real life, wouldn't that be cheaper? Yeah, you can get from, you know, Lawville to Terra, but it's going to take 17 hours and you're going to get no food. You're going to bring your own food and all that type of thing. But you can get there dirt cheap. just like in real life.
Yeah.
But do you want to go the other way where it's completely luxurious and it costs 10 times as much?
Yeah, I mean, and ultimately too, it's kind of a lore thing, right? I mean, it's a design thing too, but it is kind of a lore thing where it just depends on where CIG takes Drake. I mean, they've already taken Drake in a different direction over the past 10 years, where it was, you know, primarily the pirate ship. Now they've definitely more repositioned it into something else. I kind of keep referring it to as like the blue collar ship, you know, the working man's ship, so to speak. But even that, I think, is starting to adjust a little bit too, and they're starting to get a little bit of that like frontier.
I don't call it that. I've always called it the no frills. So there used to be a supermarket chain here in Australia called No Frills, and what they were was just basically just budget bulk food, right? And I would say that that's similar to what Drake is going for. So they just want to have a ship in every type. So they seem to be covering every single manufacturer now. You know, they do mining, blah blah blah. They do everything, and but they're just the low grade. They're just bare minimum. Now, they don't need anything special.
Yeah, the interesting thing with Drake though is that no frills, in my opinion, too, does not mean, you know, without features. I think Drake ships actually bring features, you know, that a lot of other manufacturers don't. You know what I mean? Like if you look at Drake, just take a couple of ships, for, you know, as examples. They're going to be the only ship maker in the short term. I think there will be others for sure, but they're the only ship maker that's got, you know, the command module tech right now. You know what I mean? Again, I do think that'll change.
Endeavor.
They've got ships that have exterior decks on them. They've got, you know, the Caterpillar, a big modular ship that can be, you know, changed and outfitted. They do bring things that other manufacturers don't bring. It's not that they're not innovative or anything like that. It's just, it's very much like you say. They says, we're going to give you that innovation, but at the cost of luxury, at the cost of you know, all the accoutrements of those higher end manufacturers. So,
well, the Endeavor's a little bit like the command module, too. The cab, the disconnects.
I give you that.
Except it's adding to the ship, not over control of the ship. So similar.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think we will, now the command module stuff is in. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it. Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree with you. It's not lack of functionality. It is just frills. They, you know, where Origin might make out of titanium or gold or marble, they'll just make out of plastic, metal, or garbage bank liner. Yeah. Whatever works. The cheapest thing they can make out of is what they're going to make it out of.
And I truly do hope that when we get to like deeper repair gameplay, crafting, all that, I do really hope we see the benefits of Drake at that point too. And what I mean by that is cheaper repairs, easier to craft, you know, that doesn't take, like, for example, if you wanted to craft a tier 5 clipper, then that technically, in my mind, should be easier to craft than a tier 5 consolidated outland generalist ship. You know what I mean? Because I would look at the Drake ship as being the easier to craft. So I hope when some of those deeper gameplay mechanics come in, we see some of those benefits for Drake. So.
I disagree. Project Gnome says, no, that was the one we just did. My bad. Next one. Silver Server says, with the dawn of crafting. That needs to be the patch name, I think. Dawn.
That will be the patch name.
The sun comes up and it's just like a giant spanner. Will we be able to buy off other players' specific resources such as refined materials? So that's the question I keep asking myself. I keep coming back to refining. Refining is this missing thing that we really need to pull off crafting properly, because at the moment, the bottleneck is clearly refining at stations, right?
Yeah. And also, not to cut you off, but we 100, and CIG hasn't ever really talked about this, but in my opinion, we 100% need, and this is critical in my opinion, we 100% need some sort of marketplace, auction house, whatever you want to call it. We need something where players can list their goods. Yes, you can sell it just ad hoc out with, send out a message, but we need a place like the TDDs that you can go to and list player sold goods.
Right, firing up the game. Need to show Mr. Grimm something. Yes, schooling time. I do not get to school you very often, sir, but I'm going to do so.
School
do you know where we're heading? Do you know where we're heading? Have you got any idea? What
we're heading to?
We're heading to?
We're heading to Orison.
No.
I just took a guess.
We're heading to Area 18.
Okay.
And I think you'll figure out where we're going to go before we should go there. But do you know where we're heading?
No.
In Area 18. We're heading to what used to be the social module.
Oh, okay.
Can anyone in chat tell me, so I don't have to load up the game? Can anyone in chat tell me where the marketplace is that he's describing? There must be at least one other person that is on the same chain of thought that I'm on. Where would I want to show Grimm that there's a marketplace planned in Star Citizen?
Oh, okay. So I didn't know this. This is something new for me.
This is why I'm doing it. It's educational. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm trying to be educational. And if you don't know, that means there's probably at least a few other people don't know. So is there anyone else that can tell me in Area 18 where I'd want to take Grimm? Where would I want to take him to teach him about the marketplace? Don't tell me you've all forgotten. That'll be shocking if that is the case.
They've all forgotten. It turns out, let's see, we got a couple people. G-Cube says IO Tower. Midgard says Civic Center.
Yes, Truth has got it. And Jill O'Reilly's got it. Yep. But some are in the area, but they don't know the exact place.
Okay.
But we'll go there and look, right? So we'll talk about it. But there is a planned marketplace. And I guess there's also one in Lawville now I think about it. Actually, there is one in Lawville. I forgot about the one in Lawville. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go to Lawville instead because I'm already in. I think I'm at Everest.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a couple. It's not at every place. Let me think. Is there one in... I think there might also be one in Horizon and Microtech. I could be wrong, but it's been a hot minute. So it is a thing, but we're talking it's been sitting there and it's been forgotten type of thing. So I don't fault you for forgetting it, but it's worth bringing up. So
idea being that it at one point was thought about. So
yeah.
Imagine that it's still being thought about.
Again, as I always say, think for that end goal, right? This might take a minute because the shaders are at 10%, so it might take a little. Oh, maybe not. Right. I'm pretty sure I'm at Everest. No, I'm not. I'm at Levski. Ah, shit. Right, we're gonna take the quick version. Wait. I've just realized I'm pretty sure I'm set here to respawn. Shit. Did not plan this properly. How dare you have really good educational moments and I'm not set up for it, Grimm.
How dare I ask or bring up something that you were not prepared for?
Yeah,
I'm a little disappointed in you.
Have you met Algrid? Yeah, he does that a lot. Right, we'll go to the next question. So we'll come back to that one still so far. Best guess, does the next full wipe to reset economy happen before crafting to induce it or after? I think they've said they've got next patch is what I heard. Which is really going to disappoint me because I took ages getting some of that. I don't know, Pissed Off Pete is really annoyed as well.
I heard something about a wipe at some point. I can't remember if it was connected to crafting, but I would imagine there would be. I can grab the next question.
Yeah, please.
Suba Luigi says, I have a fish which refuses to die. It is now almost 20 years with me since Easter 2006 when my girlfriend that time came back home with a small glass bowl.
Wait.
20-year-old fish.
Is this like a little fish? I'd have to think it's a big fish.
I would
And
think
just,
so.
Just to be honest, there are some sharks that they think live 400 years.
Oh my gosh.
Right, so I am not surprised, right? But I would have to assume it's bigger than just a goldfish, right? But the way what you're describing sounds like a goldfish. That's insane. That's insane to me.
It does. It kind of
Like
does.
I barely have a goldfish for the last 2 years, let alone crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, a goldfish usually I can't get last to over a year and a half. So that's if it's a goldfish, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Apples and Anarchy says the oldest recorded koi fish was 226 years old. Oh my god!
Damn.
All right,
That's
crazy. I didn't know that.
Hey, educational.
Dash 2342 says some old ships were not designed for the gameplay we'll eventually get. How far do you think they'll go, or how far do you think they'll going to rework old ships versus doing a Mark II?
Everyone's scared of
that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say everyone's scared of the Mark II problem, but the Mark II they've stated is it's really when they rework the exterior, right? It's not really the interior, and I think, let's be honest, it's more likely going to happen with really old stuff like the Aurora, like the Hornet, those ships, those original 5 ships, because the older they are, the more that's changed. Just that simple.
And they were pretty clear in stating that just a ship being unworkable with current gameplay is not what decides that, because they actually have to get that old ship to play with the gameplay regardless. So, yeah. Citizen Ninja says, if the Hermes is modular, and if CIG also sells the cargo module separately, will CIG make the same mistake as they did with the Galaxy's modules and not sell them with LTI? CIG probably lost hundreds of thousands of dollars from backers who didn't buy the Galaxy's modules for lack of LTI.
They did have LTI at original concept. They just didn't have LTI after original concept.
Right.
And I am a big proponent of not getting the modules anyway. I treat the price of a module almost like the price of a fighter. So the only kind of modules that I've seen that are basically warranted is, say, something like I think the biopods on the Endeavor are $150. That's equal to like a Prospector's 155, right? So it's almost like it's a fighter. Not worth getting it in game, right? But then the opposite of that would be, say, something like the Idris or the conversion kits or the Kraken. Now, the privateer one's $350. All of a sudden, that's probably worth having LTI on, right? And it's going to obviously be a lot harder to earn in game because it's a much bigger ship.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's an all grinding for that, not players. So when you kind of like, I've never agreed with the master set for the Endeavor. I've actually said to people, look at the price of it. You could literally almost get 3 Endeavors for the price of the master set. And you literally need 4 Endeavors to use all the modules that comes in the master set. That's insane. It's more than you're ever going to need. Just get it empty. Use, it's not obviously it can't be your primary ship, right? But if you get it and you have another ship that you can take resources and feed into the Endeavor and just buy it in game, it's just kind of a bit silly. All right, so this should hopefully take us right back to Lawville now. All right, let's off ourselves.
Okay.
Grim, why'd you kill me? That wasn't very nice.
I just thought about it, and next thing I knew, you were dead.
He cooked me bad toast.
There you go.
Good. No more grilled cheese from Grim. It's deadly.
Gaming the regen system.
Yeah. Let me get back.
I'll ask another question while you're loading.
Just real quick, someone literally said, when are we getting the Mark II? Well, I would assume it's a little bit like what happened to Golem, so I would say just before Invictus or around Invictus. I think you would agree, because they said the first half of the year, didn't they?
Yeah, I believe they did.
Yeah, so like the math is not that hard, right? You kind of do it similar to what they did with the Golem.
Yeah. Ramoyne McDonough Chad. That's a hell of a name.
We call him Donnie. We call him Donnie.
Okay, Donnie.
Yeah.
Guy says, looks like he's referring to the Hermes. Says here,
Yeah.
it looks like the Hermes still has those side cargo areas as well as the main cargo area.
Yeah.
And my question is, what is the point of that?
It doesn't have the side cargo areas. The side cargo areas are the data rooms. When you go into the, I don't think I've got an Apollo in game anymore, but if I could pull it out, I've been through it with you as well, Graham, haven't I? Like you can see they essentially capped off what the data areas would be in the normal a normal Apollo.
Yeah.
So you go in there and they look just like the data running modules in the Mercury and the Herald. And the fact that they're capped off, it's like, well, why are they capped off and you just put cargo here? Because they've obviously done it for both variants and they're just going to switch them over.
And again, if it's data running, they could put a data running terminal in one of those. They could put computers in one of those. There's a lot they could fill that space out with. So
thought we were going to crash then. We didn't.
Here's an animal question. CNolan1290 says, well, not a question, but a comment, says, my cat is basically my kid. Taught him how to go to the toilet. He is 13 now. At 16, he'll be old enough to drive. Should I see if I can teach him that as well?
I've heard of cats going to the toilet. I always found that amazing. You know, so my second cat, she came from the pound and couldn't do anything herself. She learned everything from watching Jax. So she was just like I remember she didn't like pats at the start. Now she's a complete pat whore. She loves pats. And I remember her watching Jax and him enjoying it, and her eyes just like wide open, like, what the hell? And then like Jackson finished his pats, walked off, and she just like subtly walked in where he was, and I started patting her, and she's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And it was just and she's never been the same since, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And she couldn't go to the toilet or anything because she'd been around other kittens because she came from the pound. It was a rescue. Yeah. So we're going to the business district here at Lawville. Which is similar to the business district at Area 18, but this place we are going. Oh, don't take off! Don't take away! No! It always says that to me. I've only got to wait 20 seconds. No, it's when you're on the out. Have you ever been on the outskirts and the train's like 3 minutes and you're like,
yes.
Fuck you. That's when it's annoying.
Let's see here. Supper Size says, question, who do you think is going to make the data running starter ship?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well,
I do have an inkling, but you go ahead.
Okay.
Who do you think it is?
I'll
give you a clue. Give you a clue.
Yeah.
The ship that I think it is already in game, and it's a variant of that ship, and it's a starter ship.
I think it's Crusader and it's the Intrepid.
Exactly what I think it is. If you look at the back of the Intrepid, there's some really weird things going on. Like there looks like there's a track, right? So that tells me there's probably a bounty hunting variant. But there's also these things on the side that are just really weirdly placed and they don't make any sense. And they also have cap things over them. And I think they're the data modules. And then I think the track is the bounty hunting module. So the two variants of the Intrepid that I think are missing is a data runner and a bounty hunter. Or could they be weird and it's a bounty hunting data runner? Who knows?
Yeah, I could see that. I think the Intrepid is, as we've said many times, is really variant. You know, it's there's going to be some variants of it for sure. So.
Well, the way Ben talks about it, like it was his favorite ship of last year, and didn't read the room on that one. Clearly. I don't know. I think it's really interesting to see how some ships like you could tell John read the room because he went Gladiator. He knew.
Right.
well, I don't know if that came from because me and Hagrid at least said, "Oh, we're pushing that ship for next year for best in show." We told him that straight off the bat, and I don't know if he went right memory hole and just read the room, but he went straight to Gladiator at the thing. So it was almost like a man of the people, right? So this is where we're going. So do you know where we are here?
Okay.
You've been here, the business district.
Know where we're at.
Yep, right. So where we're going is off to the left here, into the transfers area entrance. And it's a little different at the one in ArtCorp. The one in ArtCorp is bigger than this, but it's the same thing. It's an economic trading hub place that almost looks like the stock exchange, right? And there is one of these in the one in ArtCorp. I think is bigger and grander. But you have these terminals that you can go up to, and you can sell goods and stuff like that. And this is fundamentally,
yeah, I may have seen these.
Well, at the moment they're commodity shops, but eventually this is going to be a marketplace, and you can kind of see, look, that's a market, is it not? It's a stock exchange. So eventually, that's what it'll become. And if you go to the one that's in Area 18 and look it up, it's like almost like its origin. It's got like woods on the wall. It's got do you remember in Port Alisai how they had the globe thing in the middle of the room around the ASOP terminals?
Yeah.
A very similar thing to that in the middle of the room. Very, very similar to that. Isn't this the TD for Lawville? Yeah, I think that's what they call it, the TDD. What does that stand for, Donnie? Don't do TDD. Do the full name, please. That's what I'm trying to remember, and I can't remember it. What does TDD stand for? TDD.
I think trade and district are two of the words, but I don't know what the other D is.
Trade. Yeah, trading district might be just what it. I don't know. Lonnie will say it in a minute, but or maybe Donnie can't remember either. But so this is a little
trade development district.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah.
But as I said, it's not in every location, but just like every base station, you get refinery stations and cargo stations. Not every system. So Horizon is clearly, more building ships. Area 18 is way more cargo focused, but this does weapons and cargo. So that's why it's probably got a smaller one, because they are doing trade, right? And then you go to Microtech, they are not they're more a bit like Horizon. They're doing their own business and stuff, right? Where Thurston's doing trade and a bit of weapons. So it's
good to see. Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, I think it's critical. I think we need something like that. So
it's there, but you got to go out of your way at the moment to find it. So I can see why you kind of Do you remember it now? We've brought it to your attention. Do you remember, or you've?
Yeah. It's coming back to me now. I would love for stuff like this to sort of come on board and be part and parcel with things like the social tools and stuff they're developing. But I know it'll probably be a different sort of push, surrounding probably player-owned shops and trading and all that kind of stuff.
I need that Meatloaf and Cher song in the background. It's coming back to me now. In the background.
Coming back to me now. Let's see here. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's all that's all I wanted to show you. That was the educational part over. We'll quit out of the game now. Cool. That's all I wanted to show you. Right. It's there.
Hudson Hawk has a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Hudson says, the only ship in lore that can approach a star closely without taking damage is the Endeavor. Do you think this will actually be implemented in the game?
I don't think it's the only one that can do that anymore. The Zeus ES. I think that's the other one that's in the ballpark. Would you, with the extra shield on it? It's at least leaning in that direction.
Yeah, I could see that. They could technically retrofit some ships, to do that. Maybe it's a Carrack. They could do other ships to do that.
Well, they called it the Explorer Cab, right? So it goes out and explores and stuff. That's what it's called on the Endeavor. But if you look at how does the DUR differ from the Zeus ES? So the Freelancer DUR is endurance or durability or long distance.
Yeah.
It's got extra fuel tanks. It can regenerate its fuel type of shit, whatever you call it. So that goes distance exploring. So it goes way out, almost like a Carrack, right? So what does that leave the ES to do? Well, it's survivability, clearly, because it's got an extra shield over the other Zeuses. Yeah. Why? It doesn't have any extra guns. In fact, it's got less guns. Why is that? Well, it's going into dangerous spaces, whether it be, a smog planet where you need to last for longer, so it's got to regenerate those shields. Not saying it'll probably.
And when we get,
go ahead.
I think when we get science and research gameplay really coming into, and probably when we get things even like farming and stuff like that come in the game, I think you're going to see ships that can deliberately get closer to stars and other, have other environments that they can get into that other ships can't, specifically to tie into those gameplay loops. I still think I guess we need stars to be physical objects, right? Because they're not totally like physical objects yet.
So Hudson Hawk follows up with, but the Endeavor has special shields. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying that there are at least other ships in the port and framing of that, right? Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say, right? So I'm trying to show that there are other examples of it. I'm not saying it's exactly the same. In fact, why would a medium ship be able to compete with what will probably clearly become a capital ship? It most likely won't, right? But by the same token, you've got to look at as how long can that Endeavor go into a sun or right up to a sun? I don't think it's going to be permanently. I think it's going to be for a couple of minutes at a time, probably. Like it's going to be a really hazardous place, and can the Zeus do the same thing but only for 30 seconds? Who knows? We don't know yet. They've never really talked about that stuff. Can I get that said special shield? And there's a smaller version that they made that works on the Zeus, and only the Zeus can use it. Is it not a shield now anymore? Is it a subcomponent? Yeah. We don't have all these details.
Is it a material attribute? You know what I mean? Again,
Part
we're
of the
talking
hull.
about crafting. And, and maybe it's a certain material attribute that you're going to be able to craft when you're crafting a ship. It's got some buff to its, thermal and radiation, abilities.
For as much as we know about the game, there is just as much as we don't know. It's been pretty vague all the way along. And again, you guys have seen things change as development goes in. It'll no doubt change again. So someone was saying, where X went was in Lawville was the TDD. So the TDD I think is a plan to be the market. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm trying to read both chats. We've got about 10 minutes left. That's been a really quick stream. I had fun today. Normally they drag.
Had a good time.
They drag like crazy, but today
it's been a good Jack's
end off
memorial stream.
He would have been here during the shed, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's 11 o'clock.
He would have been there, asshole in your face, like all animals do. That's how my dog does it. She makes sure to put her butthole right here.
My female cat farted in my face once. That was never again. And Max, when I had Max in Canberra, I remember once he came down over the top of the couch, went down, it was going down my body, and his ass was literally right here, and he farted in my face. And I will never forget that. No, because of that. That said, though, right outside my window here, so this is a wall right here, right? And there's a window, and literally diagonally straight outside that window, so literally where my arm is pointing, he's buried there in a little alleyway, amongst all these plants in a garden bed. So he is literally he wouldn't even be more than 2 meters from me. So that's where
I like that you have an emote for him as well.
I had it beforehand.
I know you had it before because I've seen it many times, but I like that you have that. So it's kind of a cool way to kind of not to only do it when someone or an animal is passed, but it's kind of like a fun way to remember them and allow your community, the people in chat to play into that as well.
Well, I kind of, when I made it, I was kind of like, well, how do I, everyone's got this salute remote, these 07 remotes. How do I make the Inforunners different? I was like, well, people love cats. I'll make a cat one. And I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't mind making a dog one either. Like I said to Pissed Off Pete, I wouldn't mind making a dog salute one for his channel. It's just something like that. What else was I going to do? Take the Running Man logo up here and, then it just becomes generic. So,
I thought you were about to say, what else am I going to do? Make a stupid GIF that just loops double salute.
Yeah, with really thick eyebrows.
That's my territory, baby.
Well, I've got other ones. I've got here's another one. So here's a rooster. What else did I do?
I got to get on new emotes. I got to make that happen.
I try to think outside the box, but it's bloody hard. And then obviously there's the two cat ones there as well. And I think if you are you've got the animated ones, because there's animated ones that you can get. So there was this sad violin that I made. So can you see that one? and then then you got the execute angry one. But I'm pretty sure there is a glowing cat one somewhere. I'm just gotta find it. There's the one. Do you know our most used emote is this one? And it freaks me out. Is that one?
Really? That's the most used?
And I know you can't see them on YouTube, so I apologize. But basically, it's Chris Roberts doing this, and it's like all psychedelic behind him. And the sad violin, because again, like, how do you make a violin and put it in a square box? I broke the head of the violin to fit in the box, and then I put like rain going past it. So again, you got to be clever to fit them into boxes, and a violin's really long and tall. So if you zoom out on something that's already very small, you lose all that detail. But I've had people link that sad violin in other people's chats that I didn't even know they were in the chat until they linked the Inforunners remote. I went, hey, that's the emote I made. I know people use them. So I tried to create ones that were clever, generic, and people would use, because some emotes are just god awful. So I'm happy that people get used to it. But if anyone has a good idea for one, feel free to reach out to me and we can have a look at it. Yeah. Classic. Yeah, see, that's a good one. I don't mind that. You need it animated though. So you've got that really good one you send to me all the time where you're like a little kid beating his arms.
Yeah, I need the angry Chris, the angry CR one, but just me.
Yeah.
You know, there's the angry.
Why don't you make one? Why don't you make one that's like you, but you're a bit of a dragon or a hothead, and you kind of like go from normal to red, and then like steam comes flying out your ears. You're a graphics computer guy. You should be able to do that. That'd be funny.
Yeah,
just like
the
I'm pissed emoji, and it's just like steam and fire and all this shit coming out. Like, and it just like so you can imagine like fire coming out your nose, and then like it turns into smoke and floats off the screen. That would look really cool. That's an emoji. So people can like go, oh, I am angry, and just post that. You know, even that one there. Like Spike just posted one of it's literally just Tomo dancing like this, but it's a good one because it makes people look like they're happy. So I found the best emojis are the ones that you can use repetitively and in different situations, and they don't always
situations. Yeah.
Well, there's ones like this that are like how do I make one of Agrid? So this is the one I use for Agrid, which is just him rocking up, and it looks like an egg bouncing on the screen, and then you realize it's Agrid's head. So I found that funny. But not everyone finds it funny, right? But you know. But yeah, good emojis are hard to do. And if I could get them animated on YouTube, I would have them all on YouTube too. But YouTube just doesn't do animated ones. So unfortunately, on YouTube, you just don't get as much. It's a part of how it goes. I've got some of them over there. Like I've got the rooster, the cat, like all the ones that are non-animated. You know, there's even this was one that was requested. I'll put that on YouTube so you guys can see. That's Disco doing this. I've got some ones that I really didn't think that would get past the censors. My bat slap, that's one of my favorites. I use that all the time. Anytime anyone pisses me off, I just link the bat slap, which is Robin slapping, Batman slapping Robin, and it literally just says slap. So yeah. I don't know. You have a request for an emoji, get it in, and we'll look at it. Most of them have come from the community, like the no origin one. SA did this one. This is one that you wouldn't have seen either. That he actually specifically requested that one. I'll put that on Twitch as well. And that is Jax giving everyone the finger. It's a claw though, so it's his. Apparently, I've got a really long middle finger. Is that really long? Apparently, it's really long.
Yeah. Yeah, you got an ET finger.
So,
that's
the other thing I will tell you
for flicking people off.
Well, the other thing is apparently. So when we were in high school, right? You know how you can people that grab the ball. And they can just hold the ball. Yeah. Everyone else that did it had these insanely long fingers on every finger on their hand. And I was the only person that had fingers the same length as most people, but my hands could go wider than everyone else's. But I also had one really long middle finger. So I was the only person that didn't have insanely big hands that could grab the ball. And my teacher was like, your hands are weird as fuck. I was like, what? And you go, well, you've got your hands go wider than anyone else's. You've got just one really long middle finger and nothing else is long. It's just like I've got this. It was harder for me to grab it than the others, but I could do it. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, so that's why he's got a claw, to flick people off. So again, I try to use ones that are funny because again, you send that to people. Like, okay, what's that? Oh, it's just a cat with a finger up. Oh, thanks. So it's literally called cat. That one's literally called cat bird.
Cat bird.
And it got past the censors, because they're looking for, and and again, it was called bat slap, and they didn't look at it as in like violence or anything. But that shouldn't, by their own levels, that should not be on Twitch or YouTube. It shouldn't have got through, but it did. Yeah. Anyway, all right, I've talked way too much about emojis. I don't really talk about that stuff ever. But all right, let's get through these last few questions. Jen and Tonic says, so what's the sneak peek? We can go back to sneak peek real quick because we did brush over that real quick. Well, I'll let you talk about what you think it is, Grim, because I kind of.
I mean, it looks like the Hermes, or what we know to be the Hermes. Hermes has long been thought of to being an Apollo variant. This very much looks like the interior of an Apollo, minus a few changes. So yeah, we're expecting this to be the Hermes. This is now the second sneak peek we received on it. So probably pretty soon on this one. We're thinking January. This will be the January ship.
For me, you don't have to. You can agree or disagree with this, but I think this is more cargo focused than the MSR. And so I think it would be somewhere between a normal cargo ship and the MSR, where the MSR is focusing more on the data with the dedicated scanner and a bigger crew. This is more cargo and less data. That's kind of my take. So, maybe it's got data a little bit higher up than a Herald. Think of it more like a medium data runner, maybe is a way to look at it. But it's got more cargo, but still a large ship.
The next two people, by the way, Sweetheart SQP and It's Just Riot, sort of asked the same questions about what is the sneak peek sort of thing. And then Riot asked about the tractor beam. Yeah, I think the tractor beam, I don't know if there's much more to read into that, and that CIG is just trying to implement those tractor beams now in more cargo areas of ships. We're seeing that become a thing. It's not necessarily trying to say, oh, it's purely cargo. It's just we're seeing tractor beams now make an appearance in a lot of ships.
And we also...
And especially ships that deal in cargo in some way.
Well, we don't... It's the first one we've ever seen with an internal track. That's interesting.
That's true. That is true.
And the other thing I said at the time is if it is exactly like all the other tractor beams in game, it pretty much guarantees that this thing has got a lift at the back, which I also suspected.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd put your cargo boxes on the back by using the tractor beam to put them onto the lift. Then you pull the lift up, and then you move the tractor beam to the back, and then you can pull them in directly off the lift. That's if it's functionally like that right now. If they so choose, though, if you could make it so you could deploy or move along the track while using the tractor beam, no other tractor beam does that right now. But if they did, you wouldn't need the lift because you could just pick it up the ramp, so to speak, click the button, and it would move back with the box on it. Then you could just put the box in position. So it could go either way still. But I'd have to say, as it stands in game right now, without new tech, there's a lift on the back of the ship, which is what I suspected. And there's room for it. You've seen it yourself, right? There's room there for it. If you have an Apollo, go in game and ask yourself, why the hell? And like they truncate the crap out of that dock. Why is the dock so long either side? It's literally like a 30 USG cargo container long, yet there's no reason for it to be that long.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird geometry they put in there to sort of choke it out.
I wish I had an Apollo in game so we could go talk. Does anyone have an Apollo that's on stream? If you want to look at this more, if there's someone that's got an Apollo, let us know. You can jump in game with me and we'll go pull it out. Last stream when we looked at it, because we only looked at this the other week on one of the streams with Devil Dog Games. He's the guy. I think he's the guy that did it last time. Devil, jump in game, add me as a friend, and we'll jump in game. And me and you got time, Grim, to go over it, or you want to get out of here?
Yeah, I've got about another half hour.
Okay, all right. I don't want to hold you up if you don't want to. So you jump in game, and I'll jump in game, and we'll quickly go over it for people so that haven't seen it. But we did go it over with when Nonstop Bops was on. Not last week, not the week before, but the week before that. So about three weeks ago, we went through it. And it's really obvious when you look at it. But it also allowed me to show you the data module stuff. I don't think you and I have done this directly in game either. We have talked about it, but we've never been in game at the same time and looked at it, have we? Or am I mistaken?
Well, there's been a lot of conversations, but I don't know if we've been in game yet.
Yeah. So it'd be a cool thing to kind of talk about it in real time, so to speak.
Cool. While that's loading up, I can hit the next question then.
Please, that'd be great.
The third for MMT, I don't know what that name is, but hopefully I got it right. It says, do you think the Galaxy is going to suffer from the same performance issues that the Perseus and Polaris suffer from? I guess I would ask, what performance issues specifically are you referring to? Is it just overall ship performance metrics like speed, yaw rate, maneuverability, all that kind of stuff? I don't know.
What was the question?
Very different ships. Do we think that the Galaxy is going to suffer the same performance issues that the Perseus and Polaris suffer from? But I'm not sure which performance issues is being referred to. Very different ships, first off, the Galaxy versus the Perseus and the Polaris.
I think any ship that comes into the game is always going to have teething issues. I can't think of a single one that look at the Wolf. The Wolf, when it came in, both the guns, it had no components. The Wolf Alpha came out, it had all the components and the guns were separated, right? So that just, like, there is not a single ship that I haven't seen with some kind of teething issue. And I would say the Perseus kind of came out relatively close to the end of the year. In 6 months' time, it won't have any of those issues. Look at the Polaris. It's now gained the advantages of all those signs. Oh, Echo Hotel.
Oh yeah, it takes time for these ships to mature once they're released into the game.
All right, so I'll send you an invite, Echo,
here,
and you just join any server you want to join. Wait. Friend request.
Wolfsense asks a pet-related question.
Please.
Wolfsense says, question: after giving yourself some time, do you think you'll be getting another new pet in the future? If so, which kind?
I've had 7 cats.
You have another pet now, right?
Yeah. I think I'll wait till she passes. I really think it,
because you got to think about how a new pet coming into the environment too will upset that pet, the current pets. You know.
Yeah. So that's I'm kind of going to let her go, and then once she's gone, then I'll think about it. And I'm probably thinking I might go a dog next time. I haven't had a dog in quite a while. I had one dog when I was a kid, and my mum gave it away to my grandparents. So I've never really kind of had the dog there. My brother has a dog currently that it took like 4 to 5 years for him to get on with my cats, but now they got on really well in the end. The other thing is Jack's got attacked by 2 dogs over the back fence many years ago, and they literally tore the ligaments in his leg, and it took 18 months for his leg to recover. So he was just really scared of Sarge when he turned up with my brother's dog. He's a very good dog, by the way. I talk about him for a while as well. I've never seen a dog that can do what he does with a ball. It is like you can bounce it off a wall and it'll ricochet 6 times and he'll still catch it. Like that, like he's like the Matrix of ball catching. It's really bizarre.
Cool.
Cool. You got to see it to believe it. Yeah, got to see it to believe it. I sent you a party invite, Echo or Devil Dog, but
look for that party invite. He has sent it.
I'll just join on you, and I'll try and find you in game. I also need to know where you're in game too, buddy. So we can come to you, or you come to me, or vice versa. I'm at Lawville, obviously.
So this next question is one I wouldn't mind hitting because they approached me. Wolfsense03 says, question: for Star Citizen VR, I see PMAX marketing team pumping their gear into every Star Citizen YouTube channel. I want to wait out the hype. My question is, how will VR work with joysticks and keyboard controls? I will answer one part of that. PMAX did hit me up. I had some good conversations with them, but when it comes to VR, my concern with partnering with them, and I'm not against it, we haven't made any formal agreement. My only issue with that is then I worry that that's starting to get into the role of like hardware reviewer, and I don't know if I'm the appropriate person to be judging and reviewing hardware for people that will make expensive purchases, because a lot of times I use hardware in different ways than other people. I don't know what you think about that.
We haven't been approached by PyMax, but Bops was. I would consider it. It'd be kind of what the audience wants.
Yeah, I'm definitely considering it. I just don't know if I'm qualified.
Were they going to give you a headset, loan you a headset? What were they going to do?
They would send one out, and then you would be able to review it, do all that kind of stuff, and then you would send it back to them.
Yeah, yes. that I would feel comfortable with.
And then there would
doing.
be a discount code and all that kind of stuff.
So I would feel comfortable with that. Put them in contact with me. I'll happily do it. There's only one hardware.
I'll connect them with you.
There's only one hardware review we've done, and that was the Toby. And you as well have been approached by, I can't remember the Space Pigeon. Is that what it was? Space Pigeon?
Yeah. Pigeon Spaceport, yeah.
It's Pigeon Spaceport. They're going to send us some models of their Scorpius they're making. They're doing those plastic injected molded models of the Scorpius. It's the first ship they're going to do. And we said, you send it to us, we'll review them. And, we're going to be honest, though. We're not just going to, we think they're shit. We're going to tell people they're shit. That's my... They recently
asked us for paint preferences for the ones they're going to send out too. So I would again imagine that's pretty, going to be somewhat probably in the next few months.
Well, they gave us a code to use, and I haven't used it yet, right? So, they're like, oh, you can decide how you want to do it, but I don't want a long-term sponsor. I think if I'm going to do it, I'll probably do it as a one-off episode, and I would just set it so that it's maximum discount. And no kickbacks to me or Agrid at all, and just do it that way. Oh,
that's not a bad way to do it.
Yeah, and maybe just do it as a one-off, and if people ask, we'll give them the code. But I don't want to have it constantly advertised on the screen all the time. I'm not a big advertiser person. I think I'm a bit like you. I don't really like the ads and stuff, but you're forced to do it on YouTube and forced to do it on Twitch. You got to play their game.
Going back to the original question, I would say, which was, how will VR work with joystick and keyboard controls? We would need some sort of like keyboard joystick see-through onion skin ability with the VR support, which I believe they do sometimes. But yeah, we would need some proper representation of that, obviously. But that does get complicated. And again, I think that's, while I really enjoyed VR with Star Citizen, it was really, really cool, by the way. I will say that Star Citizen already has a lot of friction, like when you're just trying to play the damn game. To add on the whole other side of like the VR component too, it's not that I would never do it. It's just probably not going to be an every time I play Star Citizen, I'm hooking up the VR headset sort of situation. So, and that's going to be different for everybody. There's going to be some people that will only play Star Citizen with VR, and that's totally fine. But
well, I think it kind of, if you're going in for, the gameplay, then you might just want to do the mouse and keyboard. But if you're going in for the experience, you might want to do that. Can someone link me the notes? Apparently, Sergeant Perry is saying the 4.6 notes are up, so we could have a look at the patch notes too. But I thought I'd bring out the Intrepid so we can have a look at that as we go up as well too. So that stuff on the back that
Oh yeah, 4.6 notes are up.
Yeah, so pass them through. I could probably bring them up in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see here.
New beta hang link. All right, so someone sent me a hang link. Can't see who I'm talking to though when people message me. Like I know Grim's icon, so I don't, it's got a G. But when you message me, I got streamer mode on. So it mutes Discord, so all I get is the first letter. And it's like, if I don't know your icon, I got no idea who's messaging me. So I just send him question marks. Like, what are you sending me? I thought he was trying to send me a fix my fleet or something. Like I was like, what is this? Right. Waiting on this goddamn ship. There we go. Leave. Locked up.
Please visit us again. Welcome to the
Most of the 4.6 notes are surrounding a new event, by the way. It's a gameplay thing called Clearing the Air.
Okay. Do you want to send them through to me and bring them up? Oh, there's Echo. We finally...
Yeah, let me grab those. Stand by. I will grab them right here, and I will post them right there.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, nope, that's completely wrong. Don't follow that link.
That's the.
I don't know why it did that. I copied.
That's obviously the last thing. That's obviously the last thing you copied. It happens to me. Don't worry. All right, I get the same problem. Right, let's flick this over to the browser real quick. Ivacani patch notes. Server.
Standard ETF NDA. I guess they're allowed to be shared.
Oh, they're patch notes. So everyone sees the patch notes. Clean the air mission courier. There is no enemy ship spawning throughout the mission. So these are the known issues. Next, clean the air. Recover cargo, such as recover cargo. Levski shopping chaos. ASOP terminal. Industrial missions. Stanton missions. So it's just adding a lot more missions to Nix. That's what I'm reading down here.
Yeah.
Gameplay features. Clearing the air event. For weeks, Levski inhabitants visit has been getting sick with a mysterious disease. Okay, so that's just gonna be another.
The people's ailment.
Yeah.
I love the name of it.
Yeah. You can tell that that's just gonna be like the next event. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
25 hauling, 25 combat, or 50 combats. For a pyro gang. Yeah. So it's a cargo or combat.
Ooh, though.
Yeah.
Oh, though, there's something kind of cool there. So they're talking about there that there's this like, a fungal infection from a new strain of mold growing in faulty air filters. That just made me think, though, that would be really, really cool in the future if ships, for example, could get things like molds and stuff growing inside them that cause the air quality to go down, and you have to go in and sanitize it with like a different type of fire extinguisher or something. That's pretty crazy.
I think you're not wrong, because there's a sub-component for the life support systems now that's like a carbon filter.
The air filters.
So the air filters could literally have that problem, and if you get it infected, you could bring it into another place.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be an amazing gameplay, not knowing you're infected, and then they scan you, they find out you get infected, and you have to be quarantined.
Could you imagine if you have a passenger transport ship, but they get all these people board, but they don't know that you got the crappy filters in there, and there's mold.
And well, again, goes back to that question earlier about Drake. They've got the shittier filters, so you're more likely to catch a disease on a Drake. Yep. You know when you go to a public place like a hospital or an airport, you get more sick because there's more people. That's another reason to take the more expensive ship or service, because there's less people in your little private airport than the main.
You get on the Drake, you need to wear your undersuit and your helmet. That goes without saying, but. But it would be really cool, though, to just that idea of infection. And again, a lot of times we think of the medical gameplay in Star Citizen as being limited to a direct injury, like a broken bone, or this and that, and the other, whatever. But it would be cool if they brought in other things like long-term infections that have to be cured over time and different things like that. That could be cool. I've never thought about that.
So real quick, so I can get up to Everest and meet Echo. It was these three things here that I thought could be data port things. Were you thinking somewhat similar?
Yeah, could be. Could be some sort of scanning array or something, you mean?
Yep, and then if you go down under here... I can't, there we go. You can see that that's a track, and it's just been filled up with little greebles. So I think the other variant is a bounty hunter, or at least a variant with a track turret. And the first ship ever to get a track, by the way, was a Spirit. So it's not unheard of for Crusader ships to have tracks. So again, if I go into third person here, you can see that there's and it's sideways. You can see the track there. You can go from the bottom and go all the way to the top. And also it's just fins, so you remove the fins.
Yeah.
And you could clearly see that there's a space there with greebling for tracks. And those two cargo bays are perfectly sized for Han Solo and Carbonite like pods that we've seen coming for bounty hunting. Like as soon as I saw the 2 cargo bays, I'm like, that's a bounty hunting pod thing that you slide in. You know, and again, couldn't you also put the data runner things like, again, the data runner becomes a data runner / cargo, just like all, you know, like I can see all that as well. So
yeah.
You know, so, but
yeah, absolutely. I mean, they can always add some greebling in that we don't see. So there's definitely opportunity to put that stuff in.
Yep. Or do you lose the cargo completely and it becomes just a complete data runner? You just don't know, because they can take it both ways. Yeah. That's the advantages of the developers having fully modular ships that they can play with. I love the sound on this ship. Can you hear that, by the way? You hearing that or not?
Yeah. Oh, I love the sound of the intro. First off, all the engines in the last year of the ships coming out has been amazing. The sounds and stuff. They've done a great job.
Yeah. All right.
Matt P.
Yep.
1337 says, does the Maelstrom physical damage system have to be ready and balanced for Squadron 42 to release? Well, it has to be ready and balanced for Squadron 42.
Yeah, and it's a single player game versus a multiplayer game, so you only need a single side client, not a multiplayer client, so it's a lot easier to get it working for that. So I guess the answer is yes for Squadron, no for Star Citizen. Is that it? I think that answers the question.
That would be my answer as well. Yeah. Truther has 2 questions, pet related.
I think
first one is. Oh, did we get these?
I think we might have done.
Oh yeah, these are old. These are pretty old.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Let me.
We're probably at the end of the questions then, if that's the case. Or very close to.
Yeah. Let's see here. Might be some new ones here. Oh. Truther does ask, what does Grim have for animals? Well, we have a dog. We have a puppy. She's 2 years old.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's been on screen a few times. Yeah.
My daughter's dog. It's a good dog. Good dog. Very happy with her. Very smart. Probably the best dog I've ever had in terms of smart, learns quickly. Just a really great dog.
Grim's only had one dog.
Yeah, all the others I killed myself.
Do you know what I used to do to my cats, right, to not be insulting? I'd say, who's my best boy? Who's my best girl? So I go to boy, and then there's no insulting. I don't have to go, who's my favorite cat? I just go, who's my best boy? Who's my best girl? And I was aligned, you know?
Yeah. Let's see. Looking for what other... Let's see here. GTB 5000 says, question, do you think that CIG will vary the composition of hulls so that Origin, etc., gives you better yields than Drake, etc.?
For salvage, yeah, that's a good question.
For salvage.
Well, wouldn't that also be a part of the gameplay? You're just getting different materials? So you're getting more expensive materials from, say, an Origin, but you're getting maybe more of them, where a Drake is just more of the same, so you get more quantity.
Yeah, there's a bunch of factors that could go in there. It could be not just the manufacturer, but what tier of hull they have, right? Because we know ships will have like 5 different tiers of hull, so different tiers may alter that as well. You counter that with the type of salvage heads and all that kind of stuff, the type of refining you do. There's going to be a lot of little factors there that will alter those end numbers. Yeah.
Well, we can see Echo coming. Apparently, I'm in queue.
Okay. Kyle Smith says, question, speaking of high-tech versus low-tech approaches to gameplay depending on manufacturers, what do you think a low-tech Drake stealth ship looks like? No life support / non-essential amenities. So essentially, what does a Drake stealth ship look like?
I think it would just be running light on components. We've kind of got a bit of tip of that. You correct me if I'm wrong here. The Clipper. All size 1, so it can kind of repair and, you know, take care of itself. Yeah. But also that lowers all the signatures down.
Yeah. You know what I would see Drake doing versus a stealth ship per se, where let's say if stealth's entire goal is to limit the amount of missions going out, you know, the emissions. Yeah, I actually see Drake going a different way when it comes to stealth. And what I mean by that is I see Drake I think they would lean more into stealth, or not stealth, but spoofing, where they have tech on their ships that make let's say if the ship was the Drake Durango, then it could project and make itself look like a Buccaneer or a Cutlass, or so it can make itself look like a different ship or different ship size just based off the EM emissions and IR emissions. So, for example, if it's a large ship, it can make itself look like a medium ship or something.
I reckon you could. There's two ways you could do that, and it would differ in both ways.
Sneaky about it.
You could make it so certain ships that use maybe only a component or subcomponent can make it so it looks like another ship of the same size, but then the ships that have it as a speciality and they can be any size, and so you could have like a cutter size ship that makes itself look like an Idris, not visually but signature wise, so it clones the signature.
It could be even cool if they did it where you could spoof it to the level where when people actively pinged you and scanned you from distance, it would show up as a different type of ship, and it would be only when they got in visual range that they would say, "Wait a minute, that's not." That'd be kind of crazy and cool.
Well, that's
I can see Drake doing
too.
something like that. Because it's a little bit sneakier, a little bit more underhanded. That seems a little bit more like Drake.
But it's also too complicated for Drake in a lot of ways. So the way I would actually see them doing it, and again, they could probably do, being a bit of all-rounder, they could do that as well, is the terrapin. They just close the terrapin down and hold all the heat in. So that maybe they do a combination of both. Maybe it's a bit of spoofing, maybe they take the across the board approach, so they've got some stealth components, they limit the heat, and they do the spoofing. They could literally do everything. Because they couldn't pick one, so they just made something that, we'll think of that as an advantage. Oh, we're looking for them with a heat signature, and all of a sudden they change from heat signature to spoofing signatures. Oh, we're not doing spoofing signatures, now we're doing actual stealth components. So you can,
wait a minute.
It makes it the ultimate stealth ship if you think about it.
All right, I gotta read the next animal related.
All right, here we go.
This is good.
All
right. This one's from Project Gnome, 1961. It says, I had a cat that was named Amos Santiago Sinclair. As his initials spelled, he was a jerk. Essentially, his initials are ass. One time I left on vacation, and as soon as I got home, he peed all over my bed the moment he saw.
He scared the shit out of him.
Essentially, he was an ass. I get it. Yeah, I love it.
It reminds me of this. Oh, it's a really, really, really old, man. It's on my Facebook somewhere. I was going back looking for photos, like the photo that's in the background here of Jax, and I actually found it. And I could do it again, but for the joke of it. But it was a taxi driver. It was an Indian or Pakistani taxi driver, and his name was Anas Rammer. And that works so well because he's a taxi driver ramming the asses of other cars, and obviously the other one, which just thought was so good. All right, Echo's Hotel's large hangar. So we can go straight.
Here's a last channel we'll get before we get to Apollo here.
Yep.
Hudson Hawk says, Mr. Execute, Mr. Graham, have you lost any friends who didn't live to see Star Citizen? I have one, Lisa, in our community. We have a ship on Fleet Viewer that kind of memorializes her. It was her favorite ship, her 600i, and it's colored in her colors and all that. It's on one of the Easter egg ships in Fleet Viewer. But yes, one of our community did pass away. Very, very sad. So
I've been very lucky. I haven't. I think Argrid has had some friends go, but they weren't Star Citizen related people. I haven't even lost people in real life yet. I've been very, very lucky. Yeah.
That's good. It's a good thing.
Thank you for bringing the ship, Echo. You're happy to walk around and have a private tour with me if you want. Not a problem. So this is what me and Grim, we have talked about this one, Grim, though, haven't we? So you can kind of see here, what I'm trying to show you here is this edging. They've essentially butted this up against this is the interior, and it's butted right up against the exterior of the ship. And as soon as I saw that, I knew this whole back piece was a module. But then also, why is it so long? Wouldn't the dock just be right out here? Why is it all the way in here? And why is it so goddamn long?
Yeah.
Because literally it makes this whole back area as long as like a 32 SU cargo container. And it told me just straight away that this was a variant.
And when we went into the actual game model in 3D, it is that whole rear section is like a little module that can be switched and pulled out really easily. And that's not usually how ships are, like the models are. Usually they're all kinds of scattered all over the place. That one is very much a self-contained thing. So.
Echo, can you turn the ship power on for me? Because all the lights are off, bro. Echo, if you hear me. Echo, sir, can you please turn the lights on? You would have heard that because he's in part with me. Right. But yeah, obviously in the photo, we've now got, like, if I flick back to this photo, give me a second. I will bring... We can do this too. This is also a bonus of having it up in the in-game. If I flick over, so we can see that track goes straight through. I'll see if I can line up the patterns on the floor. Just give me a second. Because obviously the patterns on the floor have changed a little bit. Now I'm imagining that's the track. I think we've potentially might have lost the... Oh no, it doesn't need to be lost. It could be here. Tell me if you think I've got this roughly right or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
See the square on the roof there? Mm-hmm. That's right at the very edge of the sky, where the skylight starts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're tracking the right way. Yeah.
And you can kind of see that line. If I go back in game, it would mean the line goes straight down here. Over those.
Yep.
And ironically, they're all at the same height. You see that? That surface there and these two surfaces here all at the same height. Then it would have to lower down. Go back to the image. It allows it like a track to touch those surfaces.
Yeah, that looks right to me.
And it's full. Notice that's a full square. Like it's designed to get boxes through.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think it's going to go right up to that there. And also that could be a module piece as well, because that's pushed it up right up against it as well. So you could even actually take that piece out there as well. Which explains the square nature.
Yeah, that looks right to me. I think we're visualizing this the right way.
And if I had the other sneak peek from the other week, when we looked at it, these rooms do look almost freaking identical to what they are. It's just different lighting. If anything, they're probably going to remove the suit locker and the guns, or they may leave the suit lockers and the guns, because then you can do, like in a cargo ship, you can have the tractor beams and stuff like that, and suits for when you go outside. The components are already here, so you just leave the components here. But it's these ones here that become data running modules. So see how it's got this flat cap here? You just take that flat cap off, and all of a sudden you've got 5 data running modules on this side, 5 data running modules on this side, and then when you go to the other side of the ship, it's exactly the same thing. So, and then obviously the cargo grid on the floor just disappears, and it just becomes a normal floor. Because again, you need to be able to access the data modules. That's simple.
Yeah.
And then you remove these angled glass walls. And now you've got your tractor beam there. You can clearly see that this is actually probably enough room to fit. Ooh, maybe it's not 4. Maybe it's only... Do you think that's high enough for 4 or any 2? Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe it's a mixed space. Maybe it's like a 32 and then only smalls. So it's like 3 SCU high. So it is a mixed.
Yeah. I'm real curious.
So
real curious on that one.
I'm going to bring up my calculator again. I know you guys can't see it. I do apologize. So let's just say it's 32 times 4 and then it's 16 times 4. So 16 times 4, because that would equal half a third to you, Craig, if I cut it in half. 64. So that'd be 64 plus 128 is 192. That is, isn't that a raft from memory? A raft's like 180, 192 or something like that in that ballpark.
Yes.
But it's an internalized raft.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
And the other question comes, can I put cargo in that middle passageway as well? Or not? I'd have to assume it's no, so you can walk through, right? Like that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, or at least maybe they thin it a little bit or something like that. But I think there's, I don't know, I look at that space and I could, you know, I could be doing it wrong, but I think that roof is lowered. You know what I mean? Like
I can see that.
It seems to be a little bit lowered, but you got to remember there is a curve to the ship as well.
That's true. There's a little bit of a little slight curve. And we don't know how much like empty space is there. It might be something I can check in a 3D model soon. So
yeah. I do want to show not this turret, but I wanted to show this. So I do need to sit in a seat to do that. Thanks for turning the lights on, Echo, and the loan of the ship. So there is this medical scanner thing on top. So there is a scanner that would technically convert to work with the data running, and you could see that working very similar to the one on the Terrapin. You know how when you turn the chair in the Terrapin, it turns. So it could totally do the data running. I think it just comes down to the amount of cargo, and I'd rather it be more cargo focused than the MSR. I think that's where we're going, because from memory it's like 114. Let me double check that before I spit out lies. Citizen 3 Star Runner Wiki. And so I'll bring you guys over so you can see 114. So I wasn't lying, I had remembered it correctly. So that would definitely put this in a high. You see where I'm going, right? It's going to the cargo side. So I would have to hope that it's not as good at data running. But the other thing that I look at is, you look at those data running modules, it's got just as many data running modules as the Mercury Star Runner. It's got 10, it's got 10. I'm pretty sure it's got 10, and this has got 10. But then are they on a different level? Are they the same?
Right.
Like, there's all these questions I have.
We may see some more granularity there once they fill out that data running gameplay. You know what I mean? Just like they have done with medical now, we may see some
Will I also
fine-tuned granularity built into there to extend the gameplay.
Well, I also give you this. I would argue that the Crusader is going to be faster than this.
Yeah.
You know, based on the manufacturer, so it's going to be really interesting to see where it comes out. But like, I was really scared of them treading on each other, and they are closer than I expected. I'd be really interested to see how this one lands with people. I think that's the kind of the takeaway I'm going to have. Thank you, Echo, for the loan of your ship. I really appreciate that. I'll get out of your hair. It's getting. All right, I just realized I'm in game, and I don't think All right, I'll just get out of here, and this is the best part of the ship, by the way. This airlock.
Yeah. I do think this will come over to the constellations and other stuff. So
100% agree with you. I want this to be like, again, I said for ages I wanted an elevator that was a part of the landing gear, and that's what I do in the Connie. I would actually make that a front landing gear. Much like I got it from the movie Armageddon. You remember Armageddon with Bruce Willis?
Yep.
And and he chucks the patch, he rips the pad off his arm, and says, "Give this to such and such," and he stuffs. I was going to say Matt Damon. They're friends, but it's not Matt Damon. Oh God, I can't remember his name. Ben Affleck, and he stuffs him back into the that's the landing gear and the elevator all in one.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, thank you, Echo. Appreciate it. I'll give you a big wave. That wave.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. Oh my god. I can't do anything right today. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Love you a long time. All right, so we'll quit out of the game. Back over. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today, Grim.
Cool.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Echo said, Ben,
Sorry it was under these circumstances, but again, I think it was really cool to celebrate Jax's life with this type of stream. We had some laughs. We
well,
had some.
I didn't just want it to be for Jax. I wanted it to be for all animals, and I was really happy with the people that did share those cool stories, because I know Jax was a very inquisitive cat, and being my cat, he had a very simple. Well, they do adopt our personalities a little bit, I think. So yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed, and you can tell I wasn't sad. I don't know. But, you know,
no, you did good.
I wanted to celebrate his life, so that's kind of where I went with that one. So yeah, but Grim, where can people find you on the interwebs, and what type of things do you do there?
Yeah, well, you can find me on YouTube and Twitch at _Grim, and make lots of content. Obviously, Fleet Viewer, you can go there, starjumpfleetviewer.com. Got a lot of big changes coming to it. There's a beta link now floating around where you can test out the new changes. There's an internal development only version of Fleet Viewer I'm currently doing some testing with. There is a massive new feature that was just landed on that when we port it over to beta, I think is going to blow people away. And so a lot of big changes coming to Fleet Viewer, so you can find me in all those places.
Okay, we usually like to raid people on Twitch, so if I come over here, is there anyone you would like to raid? The only person I can kind of see that I know is Loken, but is there someone else that you know there that you would like to? You can feel free to check Twitch on your end if you want.
Yeah, let's see here. We have Loken, Expat.
Oh, Expat's there too. We can read Expat.
Astropub. Well, he's doing not Star Citizen, but Astropub is on.
Where is he? Really? Oh, he is too. He's doing Star Rapture. That's a good game, by the way. I picked it up really cheap.
Oh, he's playing with Loken.
Oh, well, we'll definitely raid Paul then, because we don't get a big chance to raid Paul. Echo did ask 3D Molo hologram viewer. Have you got any plans for 3Ding? Now, I don't think you do, because I know how much work it takes you, but you got any?
There was some thinking about bringing over some of the Starship 42 functionality, but it wouldn't be with the fidelity models we have because they're too heavy.
Would you say, and I don't want to say who, because I know who and you know who, right? But would you say there's the possibility, like this, I'm doing this, look, you can see my face. Is there the possibility that someone else might be doing that?
There's a very big possibility.
We'll leave it at that,
very
right?
Very big possibility. Well, yeah.
Look forward to more, Echo. We'll leave it at that. All right, so we're going to raid Paul today. I don't think I've ever raided the Astro Pub. It's not at the Astro Pub, is it? I got to tell you just the Astro Pub.
The Astro Pub.
At that? I got it right?
Just the Astro Pub.
Oh, shit. I got to put a slash. See, I'm terrible at this. The Astro Pub. The Astro Pub. That worked. Hooray! We're working. Right, cool. I finally figured out how to use Twitch. Right. What are we going to ask Twitch? What am I going to ask Twitch? What are we going to ask? Oh, I'm tired. Right. What are we going to ask Paul? Who's his favorite Australian? And what other data runner would he like? What other data runner besides the Hermes?
That's a good one.
The Herald and the Mercury does he see coming into the game, and see if he thinks Intrepid like us.
There you go.
You can also ask him about the marketing campaign too. Check out Star Rapture. Seems to be a cross between what was the name of that game? Satisfactory and what the hell is the name of that other game? It's the Rift Breaker, but in 3D. That what made me intrigued to it as well. I was like, oh, interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, all right, we'll just wait for this ad to play and go do it. The episode this week, funnily enough, I think is the one that me and Paul recorded, which was there's no more ship concepts and it's all my fault. I think that's the one that's coming this week. So yeah, interesting episode. All right, it's automatically rated. Didn't even get to say goodbye. They're gone. Right, we talked to you.
There you go.
All right, so let's have a listen.
Cool, man. Well,
see what he says. If he even notices we rated him. I know he's gonna dance.
Yeah, I gotta do the dance.
Oh, he does it with his fingers like this for some reason.
We should all do Paul dances now. We'll just steal it from him.
I once said I'll come on the show if we can do this dance, so we never did. That was my only requirement, because he asked me off the cuff. He goes, "I'll do anything you need. I just need someone as a guest." And I said, "If we can do the dance."
Oh man. Well, I better go run and feed this kid, dude. Thanks for having me on.
He is cooked until he's tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an entire religion called bar. Oh, here we go.
Oh gosh. Farisol.
Son of a bitch! Yeah, I knew you'd do that. I knew you'd do that. All right, yeah, I knew you'd take anyone that wasn't me and Agrid, because I know what he's like. He's very like keep the peace type of thing. All right, well, thank you for joining us. Make sure you go check out Grim. He's got heaps of cool stuff over there that he does, very similar to us as well. Nice big. You've been doing really well over there as well. I think you're even starting to beat us in a lot of the streams and stuff. So you're doing really, really well.
It's been going well.
All right, with that then, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that button didn't work.
So you gotta self-promote.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank to everyone that makes your mile on Patreon at the end of the video. With that then, he's been Grim.
He's been Agrid.
Algrid!
That gets you.
Yeah, you got me there. You got me there real hard.
EVXQ.
See, citizens, you got me so good there. Yeah. I was like, what? Are you drunk? Right.
Oh man, I had to have a little fun.
Not worth doing if not having fun. Bye, everyone.